Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. Hope we're all doing well today. I hope we're having an amazing time. And, yeah. Without further ado, let's get on with the game. We're on night 4 of being Julia. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Skye Blacke. I'm a filmmaker, writer, and creator from Scotland, and I use my degrees in English and film to analyse video games from a narrative-based perspective so that we can better enjoy the art that we all love. If you haven't caught up with the previous episode, I suggest doing that now, and come back to this one. Well, now that introductions are done, I leave Dakota's apartment as soon as the sun goes down. Yesterday was fun, but I always feel a little nervous when I spend too much time with her. She never lets me escape from being the centre of attention. It's exhausting. At least the less time I spend with her, the happier she is to see me again. It's a tricky act to balance, though. I am grateful for her presence in my life, but never mind. What's on my list of chores tonight? Ah yes, only one thing. Don't show up for the party at the art hall. Well, this is a rare night where I don't have anything to do. Might as well take a trip around the city and see what's up. Maybe fix myself a little drink while I'm at it. I need to break out of this mood, go somewhere I never visit, see something I tend to avoid. Think, Julia, what's the least you place to go and live a little? Or, in life I wasn't especially fond of parks, now as one of the kindred I can finally see the appeal. Past midnight they become surprisingly good hunting grounds. What was I thinking? I mean, even the most hopeless introverts yearn for company every now and then, be it the company of someone they know or a total stranger revealing themselves to be their soulmate they always thought. Even for someone as neurotic as me, there's something enthralling in the idea of briefly trading your individualism for a place in the crowd. You can just wander around and stare, like a peeping Tom hidden in plain sight. If there's anything missing from the shell of my previous social life, it's that intangible sensation, being part of a living mass. But really, Coney Island of all places? What was I thinking? Surely it's my id finally revealing what I've been missing all along. All my sick soul really wanted was to nibble on a Williams caramel apple while taking an overpriced Wonder Wheel ride. Well, I'm here. Might as well try at least one of these tourist traps. Julia talks to herself. Like how I worry I talk to myself. Or how I sound. Sorry, let me put my Julia costume on. There we go. Oh, we gotta go on the Spookorama. A goofy-looking rubber cyclops hanging over the entrance to the haunted house is a somewhat cheap but inviting appearance. I pay for the ticket in hope of seeing more of this sort of kitsch. I don't stick around until the end and storm out through the emergency exit. Jesus. I died, drank a rat's blood once, lost the ability to use modern technology, and with all that in mind, I can still consider this to be the worst experience yet. Not that I expected anything else, but still, I'm not sure what I was hoping for. I just noticed the little Mario Boo graffiti. Amidst the clouds of cigarette smoke, I noticed an old woman perched silently by the wall. She looked like one giant wrinkle, but her gaze is lively and pierces right through me. I pulled a crumpled package out of my back pocket, my last smoke. As I raised the lighter, some pompous dick, preoccupied with his visibly bored girlfriend, shoves the cigarette out of my hand. Somehow in his half-assed apology, it's his half-assed apology that pisses me off the most. The urge to drink him dry is strong, but I let it pass. I look beneath my feet. I can hear the old crone cackling as my cigarette sinks into the only puddle in the vicinity. Fuck! I turn towards the exit and notice some brawny dude closing in on me. The way he's dressed is the same uncanny aura as Steve Buscemi walking through a high school corridor in a skater outfit. Except that Steve Buscemi is 1,000 times cooler than this guy. He gets right in my face and hands me a cigarette, pulling up a rather annoying smirk. Having a bad night, sweetheart? It was fine until you came along. He completely disregards my reluctance and starts waving his hands erratically like a second-hand mime. That's a shame, but hey, you seem like a girl who likes to have fun. I know these things. I have something here, just for you. Wanna check it out? Throughout this bizarre peacock dance, his colourful wristband pops up from behind his sleeve. Shit, man, how clueless can you be? Is this a hidden camera show, or maybe just some newbie being hazed by the rest of your undercover unit? He really thinks I'll take the bait. Unbelievable. Okay, smartass, you're on. Well, what do you say? Keep talking. Why won't you follow me to my stash? I've got dope. Wow. Just wow. Let me stop you right there, Tony Montana. Less than 10 seconds and you're straight to the finish line? Also dope, you poor soul. You're out of your depth. Who put you up to this? I seem to have struck a nerve and he doesn't know how to handle it. Come on, big guy. Just give me a reason. Well, fuck you too, bitch. Now that's rude and begs for a reaction. He freezes in place as I gaze into his eyes. Flash your badge and state your name to every person in that crowd. He slowly turns on his heel and waddles away like an intoxicated penguin, yelling and waving his badge around for everyone to see. I'm Officer Brad Hines. I'm Officer Brad Hines. Brad Hines. I'm Brad Hines, officer. Maybe there's something more to this place after all. I casually wave back at the old lady as I take my leave. Guess that's enough human interaction for one night. Once more to Big Beat Burger, into the last fast food joint I'll ever know. I'll have the usual. The first time I used this line, I wasn't sure it would work, but I've gained enough notoriety among the staff that it does. The cashier just smiles, nods, and charges me for one black coffee. I can imagine him instructing the newbie. See that emo weirdo? Here's how it is. She always orders a single cup of coffee, nothing else, and she doesn't even drink it. Probably wouldn't take a single sip even if I was still alive. The stuff's just trash. But at least being a buying customer gives me an excuse to sit here for as long as I want to. I wish I could use one of the self-order kiosks to minimize human contact, but touchscreens don't exactly like me. Not too long ago I managed to blue screen 10 of them in a row. Ah well, the good news is it doesn't look like I have anything else to do tonight. The bad news is because every kindred who matters is having fun at the art house right now. It's not like I wanted to go, I just wanted them to invite me so I could tell them to fuck off. Just so edgy. I scan the entrance to the restaurant through my peripheral vision. Am I naively hoping someone will come and save me from my misery? Yes, I am. Please, please, please let someone come and get me out of here. A prince, a princess, a knight in shining armor, a fairy godmother, a passing huntsman, the big bad wolf, Mila Jokovic, Vin Diesel, Azila Banks. Hell, I'll take anyone at this point. Visualizing, tapping into the power of my subconscious, materializing my dreams. Nope, doesn't work. Looks like you're eternally stuck being a nobody in the corner of a shitty restaurant, sweet little Julia. Unlife's a bitch and then you don't even die. I pretend to read a book about psychoanalysis I stole from Dakota for a while. Having found it too mentally taxing, I switched to pretending to read a Stephen King book, which I also stole from Dakota. After the terrifying realization that it was written in the last 15 years and therefore contains no amusing drugged out rants about troubled childhood in Maine, I switched back to looking at the entrance. That party must be so trashy and stuffy and boring. At this point I'm no longer looking for salvation, I'm asking for amusement. But it doesn't come. All I get is boring bozos in normcore clothes. They walk in, take care of their business without doing anything to amuse me, and walk out. A few minutes after I lose all hope, a tall, elegant man marches in with a spring in his step. He looks around, impatient, irritated, and then he notices the person he was looking for and reacts with visible relief. He gallantly approaches my table, looks at me, and says, "There you are." Now that's curious. He shouldn't be here. Careful, everyone. Big bad wolf is here. He'll huff and he'll puff and he'll blow our house in. Why are you stalking me, wolf? I'll have you know I'm not falling for the grandma disguise ever again. My dumb attempt at self-amusement doesn't faze him at all. He doesn't even roll his eyes, just stares at me blankly. Grab your stuff and get in my car. Now. His tone leaves no room for doubt. Something bad has happened. I want to ask what, but whatever's in his I will simply ignore the dumb shit you say mode, I know better than to ask. Instead, I silently follow him to the exit. He guides me to his car. I just hope I haven't messed anything up. Again. I don't think I have, but have I? I've noticed in the background there's this like wailing noise. I'm not sure if you guys can pick it up, but it's the Vampire the Masquerade like audio leitmotif that seems to be in all the games. Kadir's car. As usual, he gave me the back seat. He's always uneasy when the passenger seat is taken. Doesn't want anyone to limit his peripheral vision, he says. Normally I catch him observing me in the rearview mirror, but this time he's watching the streets, more tense than usual. Something must have caught him off guard. I've got my seatbelt on and my popcorn ready. What's up? The awkward silence feels like it'll last forever. Eventually he finds the right words and speaks up. 6 weeks ago, the prince told me to parley with the anarchs in the docks, remember? Yeah, and he made me tag along so I could learn something about politics. As it turns out, politics meant something awfully similar to watching my drunken family shout at each other at a wedding party. There was this man who didn't need to shout to make my blood boil. The meanest one in the room, their leader. White hair, a monocle, musty clothes. Ever remember Boss Callahan? With his fucking Pollock cunt. Scrooge McDuck, yeah, how could I forget? A lot of panache, old-timey bravado and gendered insults flung my way. What was his name? Something British. Made me think of Hollywood. Callahan? Baron Callahan. Douglas Boss Callahan. Right, it's 2020, but the man's opinions and ideas were stuck in 1920. Weren't the anarchs supposed to be the progressive option? I never understood why they put up with him. He has his way of predicting what way the wind will blow. Anytime the Camarilla of the SI hit the anarchs, it was the faction opposed to him that was hurt. The lucky bastard. The luckiest bastard in the world. Though, thought you didn't believe in luck. I don't, but it sure looks like his luck has finally run out tonight. Oh. Wait, don't tell me. The anarchs got rid of him? An evil grin. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know the specifics, but I do know he's gone. Wow. Gone as in he's dead? Deader than dead? I'm 99% sure the bastard met his final death. How do you know? We've got trustworthy sources in the anarchs' inner circles. It looks like all hell's about to break loose. There's an emergency meeting at the art hall. Jesus, and you're bringing me with you? Why? Because you were on the way. Because I could. Because I should. You might not be important to the members of the court, but you're still an asset to the sect. Symbolically, at least. I can justify sneaking you into the party, claiming it's for your own protection. An unexpected alliance between the big bad wolf and poor little Red Riding Hood. Wait a minute, though. The party is still happening? I called the prince, told her the best course of action is stopping it, and started listing security protocols I prepared for these sorts of situations. She interrupted me halfway through and told me we'll discuss the subject face to face. Doesn't sound like she was interested. But is that important, huh? Politics. Politics is that important. I don't know if he's trying to convince me or himself. And once again, politics sounds an awful lot like a bunch of party-loving assholes shouting at each other. Don't worry, this isn't the kind of, how should I call it, governing issue the likes of you and I tend to deal with. And how would you describe the governing issues we tend to deal with? Shoveling ourselves out of shit. As usual, he seemed a little embarrassed for cussing, or for being too honest. Either way, it's cute. No argument here. And that's where the conversation ends. We stay silent as the car rides off towards the unknown. I'm not in New York City, Baron. The Baron of New York City, if you please. Once more, a memory of an old douchebag who thought he could rule the world crosses my mind. Well, it looks like the world has left him behind. Sayonara, arsehole. And here I am, the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight, the art hole. Guessing by the sounds, the inside seems lively. Even if they know it's an emergency, they simply don't care. What are you standing around for? You still need an invitation? No idea. Do I? I think the bouncer will let you in. There's a bouncer? Yeah, and he's standing right in front of you. Just start walking, whelp. And here I am, among partying elites. It's as stuffy and as boring as I expected, but hey, at least it's exclusive. The title Panhard came up with for these yearly celebrations is called The Celebration of Power, an invitation to re-examine the relationship between our undead bodies and the spaces they inhabit. The week-long event's packed as a sort of performance art piece meant to make their kindred who are involved celebrate their potential instead of despairing at their monstrous nature. We need to counter-program the omnipresent image of tragic vampirism within, with images that remind us we have inherited the earth and are now free to remake it in our image, is the way our prince puts it. To this end, she organises a series of exhibits, concerts, fireworks, parties, business meetings, etc., etc. Of course, the parties and business meetings are the most important. My prince. Kadir, finally. A saint with angelic wings, a holy patron of New York City. Take a good look around. Half the figures here are dressed like they're attending a mass ball. The other half are religious figures, either demonic or saintly. I have to admit, I don't fully understand the theme here. I know Panhard based it on psychomagic, a sort of shamanic psychotherapy using the power of arts. Simply put, it's a holy mass and unholy mass in equal measure. A set of rituals meant to make the participants wholeheartedly accept they're both the worst and the best this earth has to offer. Put on this mask. At the very least, you're standing out. Here. I hope the aesthetic basis for these parties is the black mass in the film Eyes Wide Shut. Some think this decision means Panhard's tone deaf, but it's quite the contrary. She knows the anarchs are constantly looking for ways to undermine her through art and rhetoric that points out glaring contradictions in her theoretically benevolent rule. But instead of denying and suppressing aesthetic designs to criticize the elite, she embraces them. Instead of risking a Streisand effect, she effectively defangs the opposition. The resistance becomes a part of the system, and both the Camarilla and the anarchs get the same message. Don't think of it as a pathology, think of it as the new normal. That cannot have been a coincidence. The new normal? I'll collect the key advisors. They've already been told to come here. I don't think there's a need for us to hold the meeting in a particularly secluded place. We'll just do it over there. Are you certain? Absolutely. Wait, is that Miss Savonsky I see behind you? I'm afraid so. I collected her on my way here because her role as a sombre representative. Just say political hostage. People have made it perfectly clear what's going to happen with my parents back in Chicago if I go against you. I realised she might become a target and decided to hide her at the art hole. Putting all my eggs in one basket will make my job easier. I'll look for a safe place for her to spend the night. Let us stay with you for now, Alasami. Time is of the essence. I didn't notice him sneak up on us. Nice get up. Are you absolutely sure? But of course, everything we say here is going to become an open secret in a matter of minutes. Prince Panhard has already come up with the appropriate messaging. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot an elderly vampire guiding a young, fashionable human girl toward the basement, led like a lamb to the slaughter. Best not to think too deeply about what's going on underneath this place. Before everyone gets here, I'd like to secure the perimeter. Easy now, Alasami. All of the appropriate security protocols for you are already active. Me and the prince have pulled some strings as well. The situation is mostly under control. Mostly under control. Never let anyone sleep any easier. Alasami, I know that as the prince's sword, you're aching for blood, but you have to accept that like most weapons known to men, you're most effective hidden in the sheath. Listen here now. Looks like a fascinating philosophical discussion in the making, but sadly I'm forced to interrupt. Prince Panhard? All of a sudden, Samira appears between the two men, her calm and collected voice completely changing the atmosphere, as expected for a self-professed protector of the peace. Samira, I hope you're enjoying yourself. To be quite honest, I feel out of place. She nods and smiles at me, probably to think she takes solace in not being the only person in the room who feels like a fish out of water. Especially now, seeing as I heard this meeting is meant for those of greater stature than mine. Nonsense. We have a delicate matter to discuss, one that might require severe judgment down the road. I think you understand why I wish for a child of the Hakim to be involved. Of course. What's the expression on your face, Kadar? He quickly collects himself. Look who's joining us. The High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, Lady Eiling Sturbridge. Eiling Sturbridge walks out of the group in an outfit I would never have imagined her in, pretending everything is par for the course. I like her little horns. Prince Panhart, the Sheriff, the Harpy, the Banner Hakim Primogen. Are we still waiting for someone? He's almost here. Shining even more brightly than usual, Eiling. I adore your outfit, Samira. Wish the prince allowed the same amount of effort for me. I, for one, am glad she didn't. I particularly love those horns. Thank you for reminding me. I put them on at the prince's behest, but I believe she's had more than enough fun. No, not yet. Ah, well, this will do for now. But you're not off the hook yet. I paid a costly price to see you like this. Both Kadir and the prince's voices are strained whenever they attempt humour. Their minds are obviously elsewhere, and it's not a happy place. Arturo, on the other hand, seems calm. We all celebrate our power in different ways, I suppose. Now what's this all about? Just a moment. Over here, Addison. The Camarilla's infamous spokesman approaches, pushing towards us in a wheelchair by his servant. Fuck. Helene, everyone. I certainly hope this is something important. What a commanding tone. Seeing as Payne can't communicate normally, his servant relays his words to us instead of... And he's posh and snobby enough to make me believe I'm listening to his master's voice. Carter won't be joining us. He gave me fair warning he might not make it tonight. I've messaged him the details. I'll have to find time to meet him later then. Finding time, searching for lost time. I swear it's all I do nowadays. And there's never enough. I guess now you understand why I insisted this event must last all week. So many esteemed guests, many of them from out of town, each deserving at least a few hours. The figure in the wheelchair waves his hand impatiently. Yes, let's just cut to the chase now, shall we? That might be the wisest course of action. My prince? Arturo. My prince. Everyone, let me begin by stressing these important points. The situation is largely under control, the negotiations are underway, and the situation is more tense than dangerous. We are safe. Let me repeat. We are safe. And with that out of the way, here's the big news. Baron Callahan, de facto leader of the Anarchs in New York City, met his final death in his office tonight. How did you find out? We have a good friend near his office. Their intel's as accurate as it gets. We've also established a negotiation channel with the Anarchs. They gave us all the confirmation we needed. Was our court involved in his destruction? I look at her in disbelief. So does everyone else. Not that the same thought hadn't passed in my head, but to simply exclaim it like that. Oh, spare me the virtue signalling. I thought we were being transparent here. I don't give a damn if we took care of Callahan or not. I just want to have a clear idea of what I'm dealing with. Yes, a clear answer. I need that too. To my knowledge, none of us present here ordered his destruction, nor did we participate in it. Unless someone wants to confess, it's now or never. Of course no one speaks up. Arturo pretends to clear his throat. That's our official position as well. The Camarilla's ruling body had nothing to do with it, and for all intents and purposes, his Anarch contenders had more interest in removing him than we did. That interest is sure to maintain in one way now. His former enemies will prop him up as a martyr for the cause. Yes, which is why we sadly can't just leave the Anarchs to their own devices. As much as we'd like to avoid recognizing their sect in any way, we've offered to assist them in an official investigation. Addison Payne's wrinkled face contorts slightly. Let me just ask you one question. You do realise those curs have no respect for our traditions, yes? We do, Edison. But, as a veteran politician, you should be deeply familiar with the word controlled opposition. Yes, for now it's important to fully contain the anarch threat in New York. For now, our only option is to prop up a candidate who will offer the least resistance to our future plans for the city. We will extend our hand to the most promising contender, giving him a way to present himself as a diplomat, a man of reasonable compromise. The rabble falls in line, the purists grow angry and alienated. We've already contacted the best possible person for this in this sect. He will oversee the investigation, and it's in his best interest to show he's able to resolve the situation calmly. Is that good enough? Addison ponders the question for a while, then waves his hand again. It is. Proceed. Funny thing is, nobody's paying any attention to me right now. Keep in mind, Mr. Payne, our people will still barely tolerate us. Our man's people will still barely tolerate us, and the situation is volatile, while the other factions within that sorry excuse for a sect might still try to escalate the conflict. I'll do my best to solve this situation as fast as possible. How so? Kadir is momentarily taken aback by Arturo's question. I volunteer to coordinate the case with the Anarchs, of course. I refuse. You have more important duties to focus on. Once more, Kadir is stunned. All due respect, Prince, but if you didn't consider me capable of tackling this issue and attending to my usual duties at the same time, I think you gravely underestimate me. Your penchant for working yourself to the bone is well known and appreciated by everyone in this room, Sheriff, but so is your perfectionism. If we do grant your wish and let you investigate while still fulfilling your routine obligations, can you guarantee you're going to give both these tasks your best? I can guarantee something very close to my best. Close to your best doesn't cut it, Alasami. Not when the vultures are out in force. Callahan's destruction is sure to cause unrest among the Anarchs, and there's an obvious outlet for their pent-up rage. I want to make sure this perfectly clear. The celebrations will continue as planned, no matter what. This is why your presence here is absolutely necessary, Sheriff. We rely on your constant protection. Of course, my prince. We must be on constant vigil for a few days. Alasami's sword must be constantly pointed at the enemies surrounding us. The timing of the Baron's destruction is impeccable. The Anarch leaders are sure to point at us and claim we're shamelessly celebrating his end. Does anyone believe it's just a coincidence? Murders are messy, almost as messy as politics. It's impossible to reliably predict the outcome of any violent action. I think it'd be wise for us to brace for a lot of unfortunate coincidences, Eiling. In any case, the rabble can't get the impression that the power struggles are of great concern to us, but they also can't think we have something to hide, which brings me to my point. We do need a symbolic gesture, one displaying expertly measured intensity. My best bet is a humble diplomatic envoy, a low-level official acting as an investigator of sorts. I implore you, Prince. Kadir. He bites his tongue and struggles to collect himself. I rarely see him lose his temper, at least when the Camarilla is involved. What's going on? I wonder about your suggestion for this role. After all, it's not particularly prestigious, but carries a lot of responsibility. We're still talking about a Camarilla representative. Oh, I think there's a very obvious candidate. Both he and Kadir look at me simultaneously. Everyone else in the room does too. Now wait a second, he can't possibly mean... Miss Julia. Once again, your full name eludes me at this moment. Am I allowed to speak? Or maybe I should wait for permission. Before I make up my mind, the sheriff sighs deeply and speaks up. Savonsky. Miss Julia Savonsky, right. I understand you used to be an investigative journalist before your embrace. That's correct. Among others, the Ban Hakim regime insists that you are worthy of greater privileges and should be given a chance to prove yourself. Samira measures Arturo with suspicion. Yes. Do you still think she's capable? She looks me deep in the eye. I swear she's telepathically trying to tell me, please, 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 don't fuck this up, you dumbass little white girl. Of course. Good. I'm sure that you, Elisami, have no problem with your protege embarking on this mission, save for the pain a mother feels when watching her child leave the nest. Whether I do or don't is not particularly important right now, is it? It absolutely is. Panhard's backing off Arturo momentarily blindsides him. Prince Panhard, If Arturo's plan is reckless, I want you to tell me. I need a simple yes or no answer. Is the girl capable? Now he knows he's left with no choice. I wouldn't entrust her with all the responsibilities that I have if she wasn't. He exchanges glances with me, but his look is different than Samira's. It's as if he's trying to apologize to me? Here we are then. A recommendation from the Banu Hakim Prodigen and the Sheriff. To tell you the truth, I was just throwing out ideas. But with this backing, I can't doubt the Night Clan's representative will get the job done. I'm certain each of us feels the same. Mr. Payne? The atmosphere in the room is mostly suggests people are glad they don't have to discuss the topic further. A shrug here, an averted gaze there. It is as you say. I will watch the way she handles this situation with great interest. Well then, Miss Savonsky. Looks like you've got your chance for a big break. Big break doesn't mean much by itself. All I see is big responsibilities being placed on my shoulders. What do I stand to gain here exactly? Even though I normally jump at the chance to be useful, I play it cool. All of a sudden, not only everyone acknowledges my existence, but believes I can handle solving a tense criminal case? If something seems too good to be true... Let's not be vulgar now. You stand to improve your standing in the court. Yes, we can discuss the particulars based on your performance. Yeah, they don't plan on giving me shit. Figures. It's not like I can refuse, but this is something I need to take into account when taking care of this case. I need a bargaining position if I want to get anything out of this. Yeah, I'll do it. Just point me in the right direction and tell me what to do. Excellent. That leaves us with only one matter, which I hope we can agree on. Prince Panhard signals someone with their hand. The figure emerges from behind the corner. Good evening. Catherine. What a pleasant surprise. Nobody informed us you were in town. Addison, looking healthier than ever. And what does Wise have to do with it? We need an impartial observer who everyone respects, and as it happens, Catherine always knew how to make friends on both sides without angering either. I beg to differ. I'd be grateful if, just for once, you decided against throwing out a tantrum against me, High Regent. A painful grimace crosses Eileen's face, but she's quick to interpret the taunt as an invitation to a game she can't possibly win. As long as she can prove herself useful to the proceedings in some way. If half of what I heard about her from Mr. Vandervin is true, she should be able to. And what did poor Carter say about me this time? Nothing specific. One always has to read between the lines with him, but it was mostly envy. Miss Weiss gracefully agreed to mediate between the Anarch representative and the La Sombra representative, ensuring mutual cooperation and mitigating potential conflicts. That felt like a Freudian slip. The Sombra representative, not Camarilla representative, i.e. someone who can be catapulted from the sect without much damage to the Ivory Tower if they mess up. Is there a meeting set up? Arturo looks at the clock on the other side of the room. In less than an hour. You'd better hurry then. What the hell? All of this is happening so fast. If the situation is indeed under control, I will drive her and oversee the situation. Out of the question. You've got your orders, Sheriff. Attend to those. You fool. The girl needs guidance. And we need yours. Nobody knows what might happen next. But it's not as if the Anarchs have a lot of love for you, Elisami. You're too effective in your duties for them to tolerate you. Better spare Miss Savonsky having them see you two together. Do you think my guidance of Julia would be lacking, Kadir? I never said that. So do you have any objection to putting her under my care? He lowers his gaze, but seems reassured. None whatsoever. That's all I needed to hear. We'll be going then. Wasting no time as usual, I see. Have you at least tried the appetite? Waiting's an old person's game, Helene. I still feel young. Remember, if there's anything you need help with, probably not, but I appreciate the thought nevertheless. Have a great night, everyone. I'll catch up with you later. Addison? I certainly hope you do. And so we leave, in a rush. Funny considering what she told me about being in a hurry yesterday. We're here. She thanks the chauffeur and lets me out of the car into a quiet neighborhood somewhere in Queens. Seems like you were in a rush. I couldn't stand the crowd. She's honest. Probably performatively so, just to get into my good graces. Well, it's working. And why's that? In my experience, gatherings like those always enable a boring pack mentality. All the familiar lies we tell ourselves to justify lusting for more, repeated ad nauseum. And what lies are you telling yourself? Her aura immediately turns colder. You have bigger issues to worry about, sweetheart. Ah well, at least now I know how familiar I can get with her. That I do. Back at the art hole, you said something about guiding me, but I have zero idea what to do. None whatsoever. I have a few necessary arrangements to make over the phone before we got here to ensure your pretty little head stays attached to your neck. For now, anyway. I am grateful, but I still feel way out of my depth. I need to know what to do. You used to make a living as an investigative journalist, did you not? Investigate the murder. In TV shows, when an investigative journalist gets too close to the heart of a politically incendiary case, it rarely goes well. A cat's head on their porch, a bullet to the head. So are you afraid that you might be a pawn in some game you don't understand? That your elders consider you a disposable asset? That a single wrong move might cost everything you hold dear? Hello, Catherine. This is the world of Vampire the Masquerade. That's exactly what we're worried about. That sounds about right, yeah. Well, by the sounds of it, you understand the situation perfectly. Yep. Don't belittle me. I need your advice. Be anything you want, but don't be boring, Julia. If I wanted to belittle you, I would have drowned you in platitudes long ago. Know thyself. Believe in your strength. Trust no one. Act confident. Turn the chessboard around and read your opponent's mind. Read Sun Tzu and quote him incessantly. Say, do you feel any better now? Can I ask you something? Seeing as Maya's still not here, of course. Do you know who killed Baron Callahan? I haven't the slightest idea. Were you emotionally impacted by his death? Not at all. Did you know him? Only passingly, I'm afraid. I expected him to perish sooner than later, so I never bothered to improve our relationship. Why are you helping me? Am I? That remains to be seen. What do you mean? You do not want a painfully honest answer. But I do. She stares me down, her irrelevant tone making it impossible to guess what she's feeling, even more than the mask. When I look at you, I see someone pitiful, someone whose hunger is purely biological, just an animalistic rush. When I saw a burgeoning plan to put you in a situation that is way beyond your capabilities, I offered my help. I was curious to see your true colours reveal themselves firsthand. When everything is said and done and Callahan's killer is pointed out, you will have been a whimpering animal or a victor taking the spoils. I cannot wait to find out. I don't know what to say. Is she provoking me, or... Mia should be here any second. You have time for one more question. I hope I'm not being rude, but is there a reason you keep your face hidden? Yes, there is a reason. And yes, you are being rude. Sorry, just curious. I understand, but let's say I prefer that everyone comes up with their own theories. The more stories I invent, the less relevant the truth will be. But anyway, here's Mia. A woman around my age emerges from the corner of the street. I never met her before, but if I had to describe her in 2 words, by her aura alone, I guess those words would be permanently angry, even more so than your usual anarch. You must be Catherine Weiss. And you must be Mia Morgan. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. The pleasure's mutual. It's your girl? Julia Savonsky, the La Sombra Primogem. La Sombra representative. I correct her automatically. At this point it's a habit. Good, if you were a Primogen I might have tried to kill you here and now. Is Talk still on the site? Nah, I told him I'd take it from here. By the end of the night he needs to look like a natural candidate for the leader of the New York City Anarchs. It's going to take a lot of driving around and negotiating. How did you react to finding Callahan's remains? He hasn't exactly elaborated on his feelings, but I expect he reacted the same way every true believer in the cause did. It's this complicated mess of all possible feelings under the moon. So he was the first one who saw the murder site? Oh, so you're already calling it a murder site? Does the Ivory Tower know something we don't? It's not the official position, but I expect a lot of them think it's Torque who stood to benefit the most from the boss's death. And it sounds like he's quick to jump on new opportunities. You don't know him? Yes, but I'd love to meet him and ask him some questions. Especially if he was the one who found the body. Well, if you meet and talk at all, it won't be tonight. He's too busy. I was assigned to investigate. I won't be able to do it properly if I'm not able to question a key witness. I'll arrange for him to see you this week. This week? Aren't the tensions a little too high for delaying an investigation like this? Well, Torque's work is our best shot at making sure they won't get higher, so boo fucking who. I'm his right-hand woman though. You got any questions? Direct them to me. Maybe the two of you should just head to Callahan's office? The discussion here does not seem to be going in the right direction. Not in a particularly interesting one. You're not coming? Torque and you are not the only ones who have their work cut out for them tonight. I trust you can take it from here. And Mia, be easy on her. Slightly different circumstances, I expect the two of you would have ended up on the same side of the barricades. Uh-huh. Take care. She heads back to her vehicle. Well, follow me. I'll show you his place. It's a 19th century style office. Classical, wooden, smelly. The stuffy air of books. Old furniture and dust covers most of the fragrance of decay, but not all of it. This is the first time I've seen the remains of a vampire who met his final death. I heard stories of really old kindred crumbling to dust, but that's an exaggeration. At least it didn't happen here. When kindred die, time catches up with them. If you offer me right now, I'd probably turn into an ugly, leaky corpse, but Callahan was well over a century old. It's like looking at a dapper mummy. A desecrated body in a heap of musty clothes. All that's left of the mighty boss Douglas Callahan, Anarch Baron of New York City. If that really is him. Needless to say, it might be a little hard to establish the time of death or the cause, especially as his garb doesn't have any obvious damage. What a great place to start. Have you already found anything suspicious? Nothing you don't see in front of you? Uh-huh. This door's the only point of entry to the room, right? Yes, unless you count the windows, but nobody except for Callahan knew how to operate those, and they don't let air or light through. Metal blinders on the windows facing east, the only modern element of the room, sticking out like a sore thumb. They look automated. Was the door open when Torque got here? Well, that's the one suspicious thing. It wasn't. It's as if Callahan locked himself in here from the inside. A closed room murder, huh? There's some glass scattered on the floor. I pointed it. Could that be from the window? I checked it from the outside. It's in perfect condition. So what's this glass? I have no idea. Why does it seem like she has her suspicions, but is remaining uncooperative just because, fuck off, Camarilla scum? I checked the next point of interest, a wall safe, surprisingly large. I played with the lock a bit. What's the combination? It's Callahan's. What makes you think I know? At least I tried. A desk with nothing but an envelope on it, nothing inside. I check all the drawers. Every single one of them has been thoroughly emptied. I don't know what I expected. Is this how the Anarchs go around securing a crime scene? Were these empties before Torque's arrival? I don't know, but I wouldn't accuse him of tampering with evidence if I were you. Well, thank you. The decor of the room is pretty minimal, so there's not a lot of points of interest that could illuminate the case. I start getting nervous. I point at the painting on the wall. Of course you have no idea who that is. Callahan's ancestor, I guess? I'm out of ideas. Everything I look at feels like another dead end. I'm frustrated. I feel as if I failed this investigation before it has even started. There must be something more. I start walking around, trying to find a single clue. Maya just watches me indifferently. Give me anything. Anything, goddammit. Anything. A shadow blinks in and out of existence near Callahan's remains. I freeze in place. Don't be afraid of me. The only thing I'm afraid of is you wasting too much of my time. Doesn't seem like Mia noticed it. Give me just a moment more. She groans under her nose and goes back to messaging someone on her phone. When she does, the shadow appears again. Once again, blink in, blink out. Could something be there? I approach the clothes and start searching them for a clue. Maybe they missed something. Getting desperate, huh? Just being thorough. We've searched the bastard like 3 times. He had nothing of interest on him. How about this? A small card, barely noticeable. Looks a bit like a shopping list is shoved deep into the almost invisible hole in the fabric. I take it out and show it to Mia. Huh. You didn't plan that there, did you? No. Did you? Shove off. What's on it? It's a list of 4 names. D'Angelo, Hope, Agathon, Tamika. Any idea what this is about? Beats me. You should recognize those names, by the way, chat. She's lying, but I don't care. Tomorrow night, I'll meet up with Kadir and ask him to help me figure it out. Think I'm done here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Guess she sees me as nothing more than an enemy agent. When will I get to meet with Torque? If, and that's a big if, he will agree to meet you on a one-on-one basis, Catherine will let you know. You probably won't let a loyal Camarilla lapdog let you see him without her oversight anyway. A Camarilla lapdog, huh? It's a risky play, of course, and might backfire, but maybe I benefit if I put my loyalty to the court into question. A Camarilla lapdog? Please. Well, aren't you? Trust me, I'm not the type who bites the hand that feeds her, but the court's favourite pastime is leaving me starved. Ah, so it's like that, huh? Yeah. Trait updated. She studies me carefully. I will keep that in mind, depending on how this situation unfolds. She's got a bunch of notifications there. Good. In the meantime, have a good night. You too. It's getting late, or early, depending on how you look at it. Once I leave Callahan's office, I head straight to Dakota's apartment. I try to sneak by to my bedroom, but she's up waiting for me. How was your night? Shit. Tomorrow. What happened? You look like something the cat dragged in. Tomorrow, I promise. But I'm worried. Don't be. Tomorrow. She gives me a concerned look, then closes her eyes, slumps her shoulders, and frowns. Alright. You're the best. I reach my pitch-black room and throw myself on the bed. The responsibilities, the stakes, the way I always feel too slow to react properly in these situations. I don't want to think. I want to turn off my brain. I want to drift into the void. Into the void. Into the void. Into the void. You have received your first trait. Some choices in the game will push Julia towards different ways of thinking, which will have a lasting effect on her throughout the story. You will see a brief pop-up on the top of the screen anytime you receive a new trait. You can always view any unlocked traits on the log screen, accessed through the top left icon. Remember, the ruthlessness is the mark of a true La Sombra, but you might walk another path before reaching that destination. So what's my trait then? Loyal only to myself. Always told you you'd make it big. Get real, these assholes are just using me as a pawn in some stupid fourth-dimensional chess game. As opposed to just keeping you off the chessboard. Don't be a glass-half-empty buzzkill. Watch them make me a scapegoat or something. That would be exciting. I could write a book about living with a 21st century Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, don't even joke like that. I haven't killed anyone. Julia, honey. Neither did Oswald. Yeah, right. I keep forgetting. Stop wriggling or it'll mess up your face. Sorry. I'm always obedient when she's busy working on my makeup. It's hard to take care of your appearance, especially your face, when you can't even see yourself in the mirror. Not that I've ever been particularly good at it, but Dakota doesn't seem to mind. I'm her goth dress-up doll. This is gay! Her presence in my unlife is one of the few good things that my sire provided for me before fucking off to Chicago. Normally I'd be told to find myself a ghoul, but many of our clan, myself included, find the idea of ghouls distasteful. We're cat people, not dog people. We don't want mindless faithful servants, we want companions who rely on us, despite having, in theory anyway, the free will not to. The kind of relationship I have to Coda would normally be a breach of the Masquerade's rules, but these rules are different for kindred who are Camarilla or adjacent, even losers like me. Simplifying here, but my sire made it clear that her child would not own slaves, and that was the end of the discussion. To be honest, I think the court mostly agreed to the request because they wanted one more thing to blackmail me with, just in case. What would you do in my place? If I had to investigate your elite's wrongdoings? Yeah, I'd probably look for those rich fucks' paedophile rings. Look for the assholes who mention pizzas especially often. See who has powerful friends in Manhattan jails. Stuff like that. Oh, come on. No, I'm serious. Search for the deep rot and a lot of smaller crimes will get solved in the process. Was that a fucking Pizzagate reference? What is it with you and conspiracy theories? It was! Not a great thing to be referencing, but I get why VTM does it. What do you mean? You just told me your bosses are having an Eyed Wide Shut party and suddenly you don't believe in a rich people's paedophilia ring? I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. My point is, you act as if all the conspiracy theories are real, like you can't possibly believe all that shit. Half of it doesn't make sense. Well, you want an interesting answer or the real answer? The real answer should be the more interesting one. She removes the brush from my face to gather her thoughts. Everyone's lost nowadays, just look at the world. It's drowning in facts that fail to cohere into a single convincing narrative or a story that resonates. The corporate media want you to believe in empirical thinking, but it always fails to deliver more moral or metaphysical truths, and the people desperately lack those. So what do? They turn to conspiracies, and suddenly they're able to navigate the world. And why is that? Because conspiracy theories give them emotional truths that serve as a compass. Is Bill Gates trying to insert satanic microchips into my body? Probably not. I hope not. Now, is he a terrible person? No idea. But there's ample evidence that might be the case. It's in his ruthless business strategies, the company he used to keep, the philosophies he follows. People look at him and they feel he's fishy, so when the media presents him as a genius or a savior and I post that he wants to put the mark of the beast in my body, they choose to believe me. Because it makes moral, emotional, and metaphysical sense to them, and ultimately, that's what matters the most. The end. I mean, this game did effectively just summarize why people believe in conspiracy theories. I'm 99% sure that's complete bullshit, but I'm buying it. I mean, it totally misrepresents most conspiracy nut jobs I knew. But it's interesting and fun to think about, so I don't really give a damn if it's true. See? That's the idea. You get it. You came up with this monologue yourself? Oh no, I read it on Facebook. Oh. Figures. But just to make sure, vaccines are okay. Well, as far as I know, they don't cause autism. Good to hear. This game came out in 2020! Anywho, I'm done. You're the best. Yeah, considering how much times I've done makeup on a dead body, I probably have enough job experience to be a mortician by now. Now that sounds like an exciting career, but in reality it's probably the most boring thing under the sun. Yeah, I like my corpses talkative, pouty, and self-loathing. Shut up, this carcass will be leaving now. It's got a job to do. Go get him, Tiger. First thing I need to do, meet up with Kadir tonight and report to him. I hope he knows how to guide me out of this mess. He should have time for me in an hour or two. In the meantime, I suppose it's time to find some... What's the most dehumanizing word I could use here? Nourishment? Kadir told me I need to quench my hunger less often if I didn't smoke. It kills you, he says, but to start killing itself, your organism must pretend it's alive, and that uses up precious vitae. But I love cigarettes. The way they smell, the way they burn, the hot ash falling from the top, the sound of the lighter, the way they kill you. And I guess I need some tactile connection to who I was back when I was alive. Okay, New York City, guide my steps. Show me which one of your children I should drink up tonight. No blood, no matter how exquisite, is worth suffering through this noise. Something terrible must have happened to the previous DJ. It had to be sudden and unexpected for them to hire this amateur under the wire. Zero ability to read the crowd, no sense of flow, as if that constant flashing wasn't migraine-inducing by itself. Not that I remember how an ordinary headache feels. I know the hunger though, which is why I'm here tonight. Purple-haired girl bumps into me, head down, tears flowing down her cheeks, hands trembling. As much as I'd understand it, I don't think it's the guy at the turntable that made her like this. Oof. Oh, I'm so sorry, She bolts before I can say a single word. Well, who am I to blame her? Tactile retreat probably felt like a good idea. Tactical. The trace of cheap bows in every potential vessel is faint, but ever present. At this point, the smell is all I'm getting. Come to think of it, I can barely remember how alcohol tastes. Maybe I should remind myself. No, that's dumb. But the bar's pretty much free of people at the moment. I get closer and take a peek at the drink menus. There's some goofy fucking names, especially from a kindred's perspective. Most of my kin can't stomach the liquor, any fluid other than blood, or food really. I've got no reason to believe I'm different. I close the drink menu and pass it along to some yuppie drunkard. He seems overjoyed and, to the bartender's dismay, orders the fanciest drink on offer. The music abruptly stops just as I step away from the bar. I can't see the booth, but the crowd's reaction tell me all I need to know. Looks like we have a new DJ. The vibe immediately improves. Hallelujah. But pleasant moments never last. Some well-worn dude on the wrong side of 40 decides to hit me up. Our eyes meet for a brief moment, slightly too late for me to outmaneuver him. Strangely, there's no lust in his gaze. And yet, he seems like a predator closing in on its prey. Shit, could he be the rumored diva's delight, a kiss addict clocking me as a bloodsucker? How come you're all here alone, sweetheart? I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but there's something irksome in the way he carries himself. As he approaches me, I begin to feel fatigued. That there was a sudden drop in atmospheric pressure. I give him a purely hateful glare, but I find it weirdly strenuous to keep my eyes on him for longer than a few seconds. There's something about him that ruins the little composure I have, and I think he knows that. I feel spiders crawling up my spine. Is there something wrong? Here, let me. Hands off, asshole. I grab his wrist in a tight grip and start twisting until I feel the snap of a dislocated joint. He screams in pain, but the music fortunately drowns it out. As soon as I let go of his hand, he runs for the exit. He stares me down before leaving, and I can't help but sense something worse than fear in his eyes. Makes me feel uncomfortable. Time to bail and not look back. Right before I reach the exit, the purple-haired girl from earlier bumps into me once again. This time I know it's not coincidental. Wait, please. She seems startled, but gives me a pleading look. I saw what you did to that man. Are you one of them? What are you talking about? Who's them? She bares her teeth and taps the side of her neck. Oh, I get it. So you're the diva's delight. She blushes innocently like I just caught her stealing cookies. Yeah. It sounds silly, I know, but I thought I would attract some of your kind. I've always been told I taste good. Would you like to try? She looks at me the same way a junkie who hasn't had a hit for a while looks at a syringe. You know too much. There's no way you don't have a patron of some sort. Her eyes tear up again. I do, but maybe I don't. I don't know anymore. He shows up whenever he wants and disappears for weeks. I don't even know his name. We're supposed to meet here tonight, but I guess he didn't show up. The girl keeps talking. Now that she has found someone new to open up to, any instinct she might have to remain secretive is gone. Is this the same? This is the same Diva's Delight as we feed on in Codex of New York, right? Makes you wonder who thought it was a good idea to breach the Masquerade for her. Before him, I used to have a caregiver. She was one of the divas too, but she was exceptional and noble. I think she cared about me in a way. She always complimented the way I taste. Would you like a try? She clings to my arm like I'm Jesus Christ and Kurt Cobain at the same time, descended from heaven exclusively to turn her misery to bliss. I can't help but feel some disdain. Please, I promise you won't be disappointed. I know I won't be, I'm too hungry for that, but I also like to pretend I'm something better than hungry from time to time. The hunger gets the better of me, but somehow I don't mind. This is what she wants, isn't it? A quick look around. Nobody's paying attention. Why would they? We're just two random girls who seem to be into each other. I gently grab the back of her head and put my lips close to her neck. She visibly trembles with excitement. As I bite down, her body softens. Then I drink, savoring each sip. She tastes really incredible, like an unfulfilled promise. Sweet, sweet innocence. As soon as I'm done, she loses her footing, weakened but undoubtedly relieved. I help her sit down on the floor. She smiles at me, joy glinting in her eye. Thank you. I needed that. My name's... Don't talk, just rest for a while. I leave her alone in this state of bliss. She doesn't seem to mind. Looks like I did the right thing. Right? I leave the booming sounds of the club behind me and get on with my night. A clean-cut staff member dressed in an impeccable company uniform smiles at me as the elevator door opens. Good evening, Mom. Meeting someone? I dismiss his question with an apathetic shrug. He sizes me up for a brief moment, visibly questioning my fashion sense. However, his professional acumen quickly trumps his discontent. Very well. This way, please. NYC's Novo-Riche seemed awfully hungry for gourmet soup this late at night. The partition is packed almost to the brim. The concierge points me over to the last vacant table, conveniently situated in the far-off corner of the main hall. I nestle in the chair, letting my elbows rest on the ornate tablecloth. Watch out, oblivious white collars, there's a black widow in your midst. Well, I'm here. Might as well just kick back and die of boredom. Yep. I really, really need something to occupy my mind. The pretentious atmosphere gradually begins to creep under my skin, straining my mind and dulling my awareness. I take a peek into my trusty medicine pack. 2 cancer sticks left. I casually light one, paying no mind to the scornful look of nearby patrons. The aura enveloping this place is suffocating. Everyone here is incredibly toffee-nosed, as if they were destined for greatness by sheer virtue of their birth. Airs and graces everywhere you look. An adorned hamster cage where everyone is trying either to suck up to their betters or get their ass kissed by their over-eager underlings. The fact that I find this so pathetic is probably part of the reason why I never amounted to anything. C'est la vie. As I take another whiff, I notice a well-groomed staff member, the manager I guess, gazing at me from behind his horn rims. He's competent enough to keep up appearances, but I can tell he's on the warpath. I think I know why he's staring like that. Sheesh, fine. I put out the cigarette on a faux-looking Indian candle holder in the middle of the table. The manager returns to his usual matters. I wonder what you would have done if I snuffed the cigarette on the tablecloth instead. Oh, shut up, Julia. You're not 17 years old anymore. For better or worse, you're eternally stuck in your 20s. As I continue to scan my surroundings, I notice the concierge answering a phone call and frantically jotting down a note. Good. Get back to work, buddy. Just as the thought of leaving crosses my mind, he glances at me briefly before hanging up. The concierge quickly closes in on me, dancing habitually between the tables, and addresses me before I can even utter a single word. Excuse me, ma'am, are you Miss Savonsky by any chance? As soon as I nod, he hands me a carefully folded memo and leaves. For how quickly he scribbled it down, the note is impeccably calligraphied. It reads, "The manager of this establishment insulted the Camarilla authority with his negligence. Even though it's minor, his transgression must be penalized. I would like you to assist me in this matter. Such a display of goodwill on your part will surely improve your standings with the higher-ups. Choose an appropriate non-lethal punishment. S." Well, this is disappointing. It was a high order to expect any help in the investigation, I guess. Instead, just another chore. The best I can hope for is that this really is just a friendly request and not a deliberate attempt to derail my work this early in the game. Ah, damn it. Might as well get it done since I'm already here, so I can move on with more pressing stuff. I swiftly approach the manager and tap him on the shoulder. He furrows his brow as soon as he notices me. I'm afraid I'm busy. One of the waiting staff should be able to... We have something to discuss. The VIP lounge. Now, if you please. His face loses colour. Maybe it's dawned on him that I'm even paler than the other blue-blooded guests. He immediately becomes compliant as I escort him through a side door. The room isn't empty, but its guests are just leaving. Nobody pays me any attention. The manager is polite as he can be as he sees the patrons out, but I can see he's clearly losing his shit. He quietly asks one of the staff to give him 5 minutes in the lounge and gingerly closes the door behind him. Then the pleading starts. Listen, I know I screwed up. I shouldn't have let him in. How could I know he's not of the proper clients? I don't give... Listen, hey! I implore you. I have children, for Christ's sake. There must be something, an arrangement, a way to... He just goes on and on as if I'm not here. With each subsequent whimper, he becomes more and more irritating. I've had enough of this bullshit. I grab him by the back of his head and smash it down on the bar, and throw him on the small but stout coffee table nearby. Take out a soup ladle from the fancy kettle that was served in and just smack the guy around. It doesn't look nice and lasts way longer than it needs to. With every hit, his whimpers grow quieter. I only come to my senses once he chokes on a sob. I look down at him just lying there and wheezing after the unjust thrashing. I throw away the bloodied utensil and get out of there as fast as I can. I didn't really know what happened to me back there. I acted on instinct. Kareen warned me that something in our bloodline finds snivelling weaklings detestable. Is that what triggered me? Well, this is something to worry about in the future. But no use dwelling on it for now. I did what I was asked, and I'm sure as hell wasted enough time here. That's all, folks. Alright, it's about time I see Kadir. Mighty kind of him to arrange a meeting in the place that's most convenient for me. D'Angelo, Hope, Tamaka, Agathon. I suppose that's better than nothing, but no evidence? Really? Honestly, it felt as if someone had already cleaned up the most egregious stuff before I had arrived. Sounds like the Anarchs. I'll definitely try and check the place again, but I feel I'd need some sort of expert to accompany me, an advanced investigator who would show me the ropes. Someone tall and handsome, maybe? Yeah, if you don't mind a diplomatic incident, I'll go with you. Any better ideas? Actually, this very note gave me one, but I'll need to set it up first. I'll get back to you about it. You know these people? I've had passing contact with each of them, part and parcel of the job, you know? I suppose. Can you help me out with this? The way I tackled it would be look at one person on the list every night, ask around about them, and see what they know. If you do manage to meet them. If I manage to meet them. They're not particularly easy to get a hold of. Always preferred to be a little off the grid, but nowadays they're all practically hiding, if not MIA or dead. Funny coincidence? It's not my job to speculate. In other words, he knows something, but it's not a liberty to say. Guess I'll find out anyway, if I do meet them. And why one night each? Shouldn't I investigate every loose thread until we're satisfied? In a perfect world, you'd have all the time you need, but it's not a perfect world. They'll try to brute force a solution to the case as soon as possible. I suspect that 4 nights from now, once the celebration of power are over, they'll ask for your findings and that will be all. Fucked up. To be brutally honest, my focus would be on solving the murder. Instead, I'd focus on not embarrassing myself. Fucked up. It's part of why I didn't want you to get involved. You couldn't possibly think Arturo had you involved out of the goodness of his heart. The entirety of your investigation's for show. You're meant to be an unwitting actor. Maybe I really should just call Mia and be like, you know what? Fuck these kids sending out every town clowns. I want to work with you. But then again, if I was with the Anarchs, they'd probably delegate even shittier tasks to me. If, and that's a really big if, they didn't think I was some kind of inside agent in the first place. Better stick to Camarilla. But if they're hell-bent on stabbing me in the back at every opportunity, maybe it's time to think about how I can repay the favour. Play dirty, no matter what Kadir thinks of it. After all, from where I'm standing now, there's no other way but up. Penny for your thoughts. I take a drag from my cigarette. After the last few months of hazing, I didn't expect a random act of kindness. This kind of bullshit is just how the Camarilla works, isn't it? more often than is necessary, I'd say. But this time is a risky play. In my experience, if one simply displays some cunning, they can unexpectedly turn a situation like this to their advantage. The court, part of the court, assumes that you're unable to surprise them in this regard, but if you do, by the end of the investigation, you might as well pull yourself out of the ditch you're in. That'd be a night to remember. So, where should I go first? You should go with me. As it happens, I'm only out here because I was ordered to drive Ailing to the art hall. And guess the name of her protege. Oh, so that's who Agathon is. Or was. Nobody knows. It's a complicated thing. You'll see. I'm on the clock, so let's get a move on. Lead the way, big bad wolf. Still not done with this bit. Not while it's still bothering you. I'm leaving you behind if you don't keep up. As I already told Kadir numerous times at that, I have no idea what happened with Agathon. The Broadway Chantry, part of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, is Ailing's usual hangout place these past few nights. She's in a hurry and not willing to talk. Do you have any idea about his connection to kindred going by the names of Tamika, D'Angelo, and Hope? I don't. I made it a point to keep our relationship strictly professional. Professional one, and never meddled in his personal affairs, unless they influenced our work, that is. But that only happened one time. Ah yes, the infamous Juno case. Were there any signs he's leaving, or anything that makes his disappearance suspicious? No, nothing. It was quite rude of him not to give me a proper warning before he departed. Still, this line of work is not particularly favoured by folks with a perfect grasp of there. I do hope his search will bring him back right where he started, begging me to take him back in. The boy is talented, and I did put a lot of time into mentoring him. If he doesn't, well, Sarah, no skin off my back. So you won't even entertain a possibility that he's found himself in harm's way? I know the answer to that one. A researcher's mindset. Doesn't think it's worth considering the worst case scenario seriously, and just takes things as they come. Precisely. If, for example, climate change scientists didn't operate this way, most would have put a bullet in their own head a long time ago. That's a cheery thought. I'd like to search the Chantry for Agathon's whereabouts. Our good sheriff already did that, long ago. You'd just be wasting your time, and ours for that matter. Didn't you say Helene was waiting for us, Kadir? Give the girl 15 minutes, Ailing, and minimal support for an ongoing investigation, and besides, she has proclivity for finding things everyone else has overlooked. 10 minutes. If you attempt to pass this door, or that one up there, I can't guarantee you'll walk out of here alive. Thank you very much, High Regent. Just get on with it. My time here is practically up, and I found nothing of use. Seems Agathon was completely dedicated to his work. Even his personal quarters are as barren as it gets. No personal touch whatsoever. Nothing I could go by. It's all research, research, research. He seems like such a bore. Focus, Julia. What would you do if you were a warlock workaholic? Where would you leave your clues to your whereabouts? What would you do if you found yourself in mortal danger and wanted Dakota to know? It's loose. Was that? Yeah. It was facing this way, huh? I approached the place where I saw the shadowy silhouette appear. It's a brick wall, and one of the bricks is loose. Kadir and Ailing are in another room right now, still discussing the party. It's not that bad. You ought to learn to find humour in the little things. It's demeaning, Sheriff. That's all there is to it. It's time. I work the brick loose until I can grip it, then I tug it as silently as possible, revealing a hole in the wall. Inside there's a book. I browse through it quickly. Agathon's diary. That's a big go. Your 10 minutes are up. So are your 15 minutes, in fact. Are you done here? If I could get 5 more minutes, I feel like I've stumbled onto something here if I just look a little more. No way, Julia. Time to go. Fine. I put the brick back and take the diary with me. It did look like Agathon left it so that someone in the Chantry could find it, presumably the High Regent. But my investigation takes priority for now. I bid Kadir and Ailing adieu and start looking for a secluded place to read the diary. Well, this is ironic. I start quickly skimming the book, singling out... For those of you who don't know, this is where we get turned in Coteries of New York. I start quickly skimming the book, and it's ironic because D'Angelo, Arturo, Hope, and Micah are all members of our coterie. Or possible members of our coterie. I start quickly skimming the book, signaling out sentences and paragraphs to look interesting, trying to get a general idea of what kind of person Agathon was. Or is, I hope. The more I read, the clearer the image of the person becomes. He'd been working under the High Regent for 15 years. There's an underlying shame in the way he talks about Tremere magic. He always describes himself as too slow on the uptake, too late to learn something, too much of an amateur. He was really tying his self-worth to his wisdom. The entries, beginning in 2012, are terrifyingly regular. The handwriting is extraordinarily neat. The author's absolute dedication to his studies is palpable. If there's anything to his own life besides work, it's his relationship with the three important women he holds dear. The first is his master, Eileen Sturbridge, with whom he reveres her for her knowledge, stoicism, and willingness to experiment. I was hoping to find some details about her secretive work here, but no dice. Looks like he was willing to risk someone finding all about his inner life, but not anything that could harm her studies. A good pupil serving a good mentor. I'm jealous. The second is another warlock, his ex-lover Juno, whom he feels guilty about. They had a conflict in which Eileen was involved. Having to choose between the two, he chose Eileen. My cloak's coming off. According to Agathon, there was never real love between him and Juno. First it was a shared interest, and a growing disconnect, and ultimately guilt, which made him feel responsible for her. But maybe that's just an excuse. He strikes me as the kind of person who spends most of his time inside his own head. Doesn't sound like someone you could have a fulfilling romance with. One day Dakota might realise this. Anyway, last but not least, Agathon's mortal grandmother, Sylvia. She is the light of his life and the person who took care of him after his parents died in a ritual murder. Not quite what I expected. His family used to serve a cruel vampire in Mexico City, and it was retribution for their escape. She was the lead Tremere used to track him down, actually. He was keeping her alive for a long time, but a few months ago, her heart gave up. Agathon blamed his insufficient skills, the kind of man who carries the entire world on his shoulders. Left alone with Eileen, he drowned himself in work and eventually burned out. But it doesn't sound like Sylvia's death was the only event that triggered his depression spiral. There's some kind of incident back in 2019. He doesn't cite specifics. Another thing he was worried about writing down? It's all vague memories of a person who made him fly too close to the sun. Whatever happened, it had the same effect as his grandmother's death. New York stopped feeling like a home to him. It became alien, empty, and grotesque. His words. I checked the first page. There's a recent photograph of him glued to the inner side of the cover. He's facing away from the camera, only showing his profile and striking a rather dramatic pose. At first, it looked kind of poserish to me. However, upon closer inspection, it seems like a goodbye photo. The final melancholic glance he throws in your direction before disappearing for good. There's also a single black feather. No idea what it means. Something's written next to the photograph with a lot of flourish. It looks like a poem? More than annoyed, sad. More than sad, unhappy. More than unhappy, suffering. More than suffering, abandoned. More than abandoned, alone in the world. More than alone, exiled. More than exiled, dead. More than dead, forgotten. The Sedative, 1917, by Marie Lawrenson. Looks like he wrote it down recently. It might have resonated with the emotional state over the past few months. More importantly, it seems to confirm his intent with this diary to me. The general idea seems to be his research will outlive him, so he doesn't even detail it. Still, he wanted some kind of tangible memory of who he was left for posterity. But that's not all. There's still a mystery to be solved. Quite a few of the pages towards the end are missing, but it doesn't look like they were necessarily removed to redact information. The way they were torn in a way that makes it clear the paper wasn't even used. What's more, the preceding pages are empty as well. Could it be that that's when it happens again? And notice a bizarre shape in my peripheral vision. Bleed. I turn to catch a glimpse as fast as possible, but it's already gone. My heart could beat faster right now. It would be jumping out of its chest. It's discomforting. I've been seeing these apparitions since I turned into this. The worst part is, I feel like they were always there. Even as a mortal, they were there, sometimes in the corner of my eye, disappearing when I tried to look directly at them, making me think it was my mind just playing tricks on me. But when you're part of the Night Clan, there are times that they don't disappear. There are times they talk. There are times that they try to force you to do their bidding. And worst of all, no, I don't want to think about it right now. So in my experience, they aren't exactly known to be consciously malevolent. This one in particular was trying to help. I open the book on the first empty page and look around to make sure no one's staring. Then I cut myself with a razor I keep in my pocket just in case. It's not a deep slice, I just want to let a droplet of vitae fall on the page. That's when the letters appear. Look at me, clown. No longer confident that any of my people can be trusted, I'm turning to a camarilla at that. Reserved contempt. What are you, boy? Laugh at me. Ridicule is all I... Come on, don't stand there like an idiot. You want to say something? Say it. What the hell? This is the last thing I expected to happen. This diary is haunted. A series of quickly changing sentences and images composed of shadows and blood give me a window into another reality. It's not an objective view, it's like scattered remnants of emotions, similar to a half-remembered dream, full of holes, but an honest expression of one's mind. Might be it be interacting with me? It's just a hypothesis, but I don't know why else it would show me Callahan. Was that Ellis Island? Right. This time I don't even look in its direction. The voice makes me feel oddly confident about what I have to do. I pick up the feather that was in the diary and dip it in my vitae. Then I write down. Let's try compassion. You may call me whatever names you want. I will still pity you, old man. Well, ain't that grand of you. I see what you are. In some ways, compassion from the likes of me is probably the worst gift you could get. Feeling of having hit the jackpot. Doesn't feel like this is the way these events took place. It's more like a way to explore Agathon's emotional truth about the way it unfolded. In any case, the diary is reacting to me, and some shade of the truth is better than nothing. It's a handy tool if I could use it right. I might find some clues that could aid me in my investigation. I hope we all recognise this island from the previous as well. And of course, if you haven't watched the previous Vampire the Masquerade streams, you should head over to the Black Archive and take a look. There are a few thoughts floating around in my head, like alien entities trying to make their way out. Is that also an effect of the diary's power? Let's try our boy Dream! Let's say I help you out, and we both make it out alive. What would you do afterwards? Maybe I'd kill the I once thought I'd loved. Maybe I'd visit the old country. I'd embrace myself a new son. No idea. The world would be my oyster. What do you care, boy? I care because I want to. How should I say? Envision my future in relation to these plans. You'd be under my protection for as long as you're in the city. If you choose to leave, I'd help you out. If there's one that's still intact about me, it's my honor. Suspicion. God damn it, what are they talking about? Why did you meet? Why did you pick this place to meet anyway? It's secluded. There's something in the air that makes all the blood magic go haywire, which is especially important. Because of me? You're still afraid I might be part of the experiment? No, because of that devil woman. Blood running cold. All the scribblings disappear and another set starts to take their place. The diary conjures an image of a completely different place, and I instantly get a feeling of deja vu. I process this space differently. The atmosphere is different, more familiar, homey. But this is unmistakably the Tremere Chantry I visited earlier tonight. And standing there is just the person I'd expect. Looks like that's it for my meeting with Callahan. God damn it. What if this person he was talking about and eliciting a strong emotional reaction from was Eileen? The diary awaits my next command. Why? Why? You can't be serious. These experiments need resources, and I wouldn't be able to provide all the needed material in a reasonable time frame all by myself. It's quid pro quo, and it's not like my research isn't helping all kindred in... I don't feel comfortable being a part of this at all. I always thought we were busy with science, not politics. These are the words of a child, Agathon. Science has always relied on politics, and politics on science. Not like this, High Regent. Don't embarrass me, Agathon. Not like this. The moving scribblings disappear again. I hastily let another drop of blood fall on the page. What appears this time is yet another familiar face. Ah yes, Agathon. What is it that you wanted to tell me? You goddamned rat. I beg your pardon. The harpy vanishes. Yeah, right. As if I could ever gather the courage to say that to your face. The least I can do is try to stab you in the back. The diary ends here. I spill a little more vitae on the page, but it no longer works. I suppose that's it. Still have no idea what happened to Agathon. Is he alive, or is he dead? Maybe Dakota was right. I've been a glass half empty buzzkill too often. I will brace for the worst, but hope for the best. The way he left his diary for someone to carry on his work, the hints he strategically left it inside it. He's got all this planned out, no doubt about it. I choose to believe I will see him again one night. Maybe I'll even compliment that jacket he has. I'm a glass half full bitch now. In any case, I think it's time to pay a visit to the art hall. I know Arturo tends to leave the Elysium quite often to take in some fresh air and message people on his BlackBerry. So I just wait. The tactic works. He's surprised to see me. Miss Savonsky, shouldn't you be busy with your investigation? I am, actually, which is why I've come to see you. That's peculiar, because I'm absolutely sure this has nothing to do with me. Aren't you barking up the wrong tree? That's why I'm here to find out. I assumed you'd want to see I'm thorough. Yeah, sure, I suppose. It's commendable. What is it, then? I have reason to believe that in the last few months, you, the High Regent Aileen Starbridge, and her child, Agathon, were involved in a secretive scheme. His expression changes ever so imperceptibly, smallly, but the difference is palpable to me. For the first time ever, he looks at me as a person. Up until now, I was just an amusing diversion. Now I'm something more. He doesn't like it. What gave you this idea? I'm not at liberty to say. If you really want to know, ask the sheriff. Of course, Kadir doesn't know anything, but he's the only one in the court that Arturo has repeatedly failed to influence. You'll think twice about approaching him. Fails to see how this relates to the matters at hand. I have every reason to believe that Baron Callahan was involved, and that he might have had grounds to fear for his life because of said scheme. He's tense now. Do I have the upper hand? Miss Savonsky, please, answer the question. The delicate matter you are speaking of has nothing to do with Baron Callahan's grim fate. It's a strictly confidential affair, and it would be wise for you to stop pursuing it. It would be wise of you to fuck off. I can't be an investigator if I'm not allowed to properly investigate. The matter is unrelated to your work and should be treated as such. I'm 100% convinced Prince Panhard would agree. If you insist on pursuing it further, we can take it up to the Prince and see if her stance differs from mine. But I think you aren't as naive as to waste her time this way. And besides, she'd certainly want you to present the basis for your discovery to court. Could you handle it? I have no response. God damn it, this is his revenge for invoking Kadir, isn't it? I thought so. Is the High Regent inside? She is, but don't worry, I'll make sure to tell her not to waste your precious time, Miss Savonsky. So that's how you're gonna play it, you bastard. Well, I guess you win this round. A strategic retreat is my only choice here. I don't have a full deck of cards yet, but just you wait. In a few nights, I'll take my leave then. Yes, do that, and if I may be so blunt, focus on the investigation avenues that aren't utterly imbecilic and suicidal to pursue, miss. I bid you adieu. I curse him under my breath as he disappears inside the art hole. Guess this avenue really is cut off for me, at least for now. 3 names on that list, and I still have some leads to go by. But for now, it's getting late. I should go to St. Patrick's and file my latest report. When I reach the cathedral, Father Leonard is already there. He's not exactly the most punctual person, so I always feel relieved to see him from afar. Time to move in and move out before I'm noticed by Benoit. Will this be all? I guess so. I rattled off most of it in a hurry on the way here. I'll come up with a more exhaustive report tomorrow night. Busy? Looks that way, Father. Our wayward girl has finally been recognized by her superiors. Here we go again. Of course he had to sneak up on me. If even you heard about that, I guess that means every single kindred in the 5 boroughs knows. I know you're an expert when it comes to knowing who's saying what and where, but the last time we met, you promised to share that knowledge with me. Yeah, I was kind of lying. That's the 9th commandment broken, Father. Shouldn't you scold her? Don't involve me in your silly games, Benoit. The way you fall for obvious lies stems from your biggest failing in communication. And that is? You'll need to pay attention to the what that's being said, and not the how. That's... Booyah, motherfucker! Suck it! Annihilated with an absolutely flawed diagnosis. Child, don't make me regret siding with you. I'm sorry, Father. Won't happen again. Especially if you promise to keep verbally destroying that clown. You're in a strange mood tonight, child. Go get some sleep. Yeah, well, we'll continue this tomorrow. I'm not showing up here tomorrow. Yes, you are. Stop breaking the 9th commandment. See you around, Julia. He says my name in a sickly sweet way that gives me the creeps. I bow to Father Leonard and do my best to ignore Benoit and head for Dakota's place. Finally, my haven. Hey. Hey. Another tough night? You don't know the half of it. You want a drink? She points to her neck, and I manage to summon the faintest of smiles. I'd love to, but you know we can't do this too often. Maybe tomorrow. You want to talk then? Yeah, I guess so. Just not about work, okay? I sit down next to her. Not about work. Got it. What's on your mind then? The past, I guess. Meaning? How spotty our memories are, and how despite that, that's what we build our convictions on. Sorry, it's so banal. I'm just tired and frustrated. Well, let's talk about something more specific then. What do you remember about the first time we met? The time we first met? Yeah. Shit. Not a lot, actually. Those were gloomy, anxious days. I think subconsciously I replaced most of them with blank spaces. I remember you trying to paint your hair black. Just don't dig up my trauma now, okay? Remember that when we first talked, we talked about Hausu? Don't say Hausu, it's low-key racist, I think. Nobody even knows what you mean by house. Ah, that show with the asshole doctor? No, the Japanese haunted house horror film that feels like it was written by a 7-year-old with ADHD. In the best way. In the best way. Duh. We were arguing which character from the movie both of us are. You were Kung Fu, I ended up as Prof... which was rude. You were dressed up like a total nerd, not my fault. What was the deal with that suit? I liked that suit. Yeah, it was okay. I remember helping you out with graphic design whenever you needed it. Funny, I remember you needing help with writing as something that tended to happen far more often. Yeah, we developed a fun shared aesthetic with similar surface connections and bonded us together before we made sure we were fully compatible deep down as human beings. Hell, I'm still not sure we are, especially now with me not being a human being anymore. But hey, at least we both agree that this bedroom feels super comfy. Remember always feeling left out of your social circles? Always knocking at the door from the outside? Oh, forget it. My social circles were full of out-of-touch, snobby assholes. Yeah, but it felt weird how much they avoided me. And there's that one time with Isabella. All of a sudden, one thing Isabella said at that one party flashes in my mind with startling clarity. After midnight in the kitchen, without context, she just walked up to me and... She will isolate you, she will suck you dry, and she will move on to the next target. That's the only thing she knows. Ugh, don't remind me of Isabella. She always resented me. Been so long, and it's all baseless conjecture now, but what if she really did isolate me on purpose back then? Nah, the glass is half full. The past is Schrodinger's cat and all that. Better to believe in the positive version of events. Come to think of it, friend or foe, if you don't believe they're on your side, they will know it one way or the other, and then it's 100% certain they won't be. Maybe optimism really is the way. Yeah, forget Isabella. Let's just drop this talk. I'm frustrated enough. I need a reset. Sounds like a good idea. Off to sleep? Yeah. Gotta get ready to go back to hell tomorrow. Alright, I'll get back to work. You're working remotely again? Yeah, my office is going insane for so many reasons, and I'm getting cabin fever too. Get some sun. It'll be good for you. Look who's talking. Good night, sunshine. Good night. A few minutes after I wake up, I see a message slipped under my apartment door. Kadir? Yep, looks like he's got a short window to meet me at Queen's a few hours from now. Willet's Point. A single suggestion. Get ready for action. Fine then, I will. Best way to do it would be to clear my mind. Just walk without thinking. Reset the framework. Some fresh air should do it. Maybe a chance meeting with someone to get me out of this mental rut. And let me look at the world from a different angle for a while and improve my mood. Although when it comes down to improving one's mood, nothing beats some crimson red pouring down my throat. Not to mention these cigarettes taste bad with best with a full stomach. Let's go. That's our stalker from the last game. And again, I find myself at the entrance to my sanctuary. Current vibe, not exactly an embodiment of jeu de vivre, but unburdened by my usual self-loathing. All in all, pretty decent frame of mind. Beware, big beast burger. Something wicked this way cometh. And just like that, my mood is ruined. All it took was a single step through the door. Some swivel-eyed loon took my seat, her legs across over the table, dirty shoes staining my chipboard altar. Come on. Her clothing style is obviously meant to look eccentric and patchwork, but comes off as tragically derelict. There's nothing coincidental in her table choice, and it's not just because there's plenty of free spots tonight. She ogles me with those beady little eyes, daring me to come and try her. Give the guy at the till, Benny I think his name was, a quick glance. No response. Unsurprising, he's a veteran. He knows better than to get involved. Is this supposed to be a message? Long shot, but remember, a reminder of the Camilla's watchful eye, maybe? Everything about this lady, her hairstyle, her mannerisms, lipstick smeared nowhere near her actual lips, screams lunatic. Not the type that fights tooth and nail to get the other bats out of her cave, but I'm not going to just back down for no good reason either. I quietly take a seat right in front of her and wait. Yeah, you crazy-haired weirdo hag, I can be patient too. We spend the next 5 minutes in silence. She just sits there and glares at me without blinking once. Another few minutes go by, dragging on indefinitely. She's chewing some red bubblegum with a wide-eyed grin that makes Jack Nicholson's trademark smirk look like Mr. Rogers' beaming smile. Not gonna lie, that munching is getting on my nerves. Perfectly aware all this theatricality serves only one purpose, to get under my skin, make me act against my better judgment. It's surprisingly effective, I'll give her that. But I'm not an idiot, I'll just take the chill pill, try best to remain in control. She uncrosses her legs in a strangely seductive motion. In her mind's eye, it probably looked like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, but in reality it had all the grace of a tracksuit Slav squatting. It seems we're going to be here a while longer. I pull out a cigarette from my crumpled packet and light it, casually, as if I wasn't bothered by the invader. Before I can take a single puff, the nut job snatches it out of my mouth. Don't mind if I do. Who do you... She cuts me off mid-sentence. Shh, no talking. You need to get back to your happy place. I tried to hold the impetus to rip her face off. She picks up after a few seconds. I don't like you. I don't hate you either. Not yet, at least. I'm a judge character, but yours eludes me. Get to the fucking point. She flicks the ash off the cigarette in a fluid motion and takes a long puff. No exhaling. The smoke comes out of her mouth while she speaks, like her intestines are caught on fire. My special friend asked me to note your every step, judge your every move, and count your every failure. And believe me, when I started this job, I thought there would be a lot less counting. Who's she talking about? Panhard? Kadir? Torque? She tilts her head in an unsettlingly canine manner. Little girl, I ran all sorts of charts and graphs on you, and they all pointed to the same result. Useless hussy. Can you help your sister out and illuminate to me what all the fuss is about? Don't want to help? Come on, if you're a good doggy, you might get a biscuit. As if all that bullshit wasn't enough, she taps my nose like I'm a fucking puppy. Oh no, you didn't. You want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts. Get the fuck out of here. I try to bore into her mind like I did with many others before, but my body suddenly twists and stiffens, forcing my limbs into a bizarre state, not unlike rigor mortis. She seems elated by my state, sending up a meaningful smirk my way, the kind of wry expression that says, "You fucked up big time." Bark, bark, little pup. In a last-ditch attempt to subdue her, I peer into her eyes, but all I can see is that smile and her sable eyes, the stars of black. Huh? What? There's dirt under my nails. Are those leaves? Why are there leaves in my hair? What's that awful taste? Into my bewilderment, the thing that drops in my jaw is a grimy femur. One it falls straight into the hole, one that must have dug by myself, judging by the state of my hands. I'm covered in mud from top to bottom, my clothes are crumpled and torn in a few places. How much time did I spend on all fours? Fuck! I rarely expect to keep a good thing going, but it really looked like I was in for a decent evening. No dice. All I can do now is clean myself up best I can and make up for lost time. Shit. I feel spiritually tainted. If any cat cafe was open at this time of night, I'd go there to recover. Let's just move on. It's time to get back to work. I step inside the subway and head to my meeting with Kadir. Oh, for fuck's sake, I thought you were just kidding. Nope. I couldn't reach her, but I know for a fact Hope is there. He's pointing in the direction of the double spiral building. And what's she doing there? I understand she's the current leader of the company. Acting CEO, to be exact. No. You're pulling my leg. Of all the places in this city, the company that brags about creating IT solutions of the future are always surrounded by rumors of monstrous workers' abuse or sort of ethical violations, trading information with governments, and ending the career of a certain promising journalist and professional fuck-up who attempted to investigate them seriously. You might be able to ask her both professional and personal questions. 2 birds, 1 stone. I don't get it. Last time I checked, the company belonged to Kara Montgomery. We know Kara! We know Hope, too. I'm told she quietly took a sabbatical a few months ago, and it sure looks like the kind of sabbatical you don't come back from. Final death? Very possible, but I have no idea. I remember I was shocked when I first learned that one of my nemesis back in my old life was a vampire all along. When I realised her position made her untouchable to me, I was beyond mad. Well, whatever happens, it couldn't happen to a nicer person. What about her brother Jesse? You're asking me? Last time I checked, you were the expert on this company. I just handled the basic intel for you, even though I shouldn't even really be here. Yeah, and I hope you realise I am grateful. You better be. So is Hope just another corporate shark? Well, she's the child of Carter. A theatrical pause, his smile as he smiles as he sees me wince. But very much unlike him. He took her in for her particular multifaceted talents related to the internet, knowing he's hopelessly behind the times in that regard. I hear she's been unruly, though. Well, unruly's good. I can work with unruly. So you're telling me she might not be such a stuck-up startup bitch? Language. As I've told you a few times now when it comes to the internet, just assume I haven't had the slightest idea. I'm getting there myself. I haven't been able to check my email for 5 months. I have no idea what the kids at BBB are talking about most of the time. Oh my god, I might be getting old. Don't worry, the moment you realise you don't give a damn about most fads you would have cared about years ago is a liberating one. Been there, done that, at the beginning of the 21st century, or 20th century. Old. Anyway, you'll probably hear Hope's story straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have much time, so I'll get straight to the point. You shouldn't be looking at anything in the main building. It's just a front. Ignore it. What you want to do is use the elevator to get to the lowest floor. I'd heard stories about the double spiral basement, but I had no idea what to make of them. Every source told me a different rumour. Did any of them tell you a rumour about it being an army of underground ghouls? No, but I'm all ears. Double spiral employees are an army of ghouls as a cheap workforce. They work and live underground, always away from prying eyes, with lesser rights than regular kind employees. Perfect for business. Wow. I'm actually speechless for a second. I had profoundly low expectations of that company, but every time I learn something new about what's going on behind the scenes, I'm still surprised at the level of scumbaggery at play. I'll leave the moral judgment to you, expert. In any case, you need to reach room number 507, where the CEO supposedly resides. And then, get Hope to answer your questions. His old-timey flip phone vibrates. Speaking of, if you got any left for me, it's now or never. I'm needed at the art hall. Now. How should I approach the building? I've told you everything I know. Just do what I do all the time. And that is, scout the situation, and decide. Right, I forgot that's what you do all the time. You mean scouting? No, stating the obvious. The phone vibrates again. Well, that's it for me. Arturo's pestering me to show up Elysium 5 minutes ago. Tell him I kindly suggest he should go fuck himself. Not in 1,000 years. Well, good luck with your mission, soldier. With a mock salute, he disappears inside his car and drives away. Nothing left for me but to head in. Still, I'm anxious. There are 2 approaches to choose from, and whatever I pick, I'll have to stick with it. Sneaking in and politely asking for cooperation seems like a less disruptive, more me option. Shit, I kinda wish I was still stuck in my routine where I didn't need to be doing things like developing a personality. It's a bit of a coin flip, but I've got to make a choice here. How do I approach double spiral? Better stay covert. Being aggressive's not me. I don't even want to think about the headaches I'd have to deal with. The less disruptive I am, the better the chances I won't get pissed off. They won't get pissed off at me, and I do need Hope to be cooperative. This is a good cop approach, should pay off eventually. Alright, let's do this. I cloak myself in shadows and let my instinct take over. The lobby isn't well lit, so it's not hard to get by the lone security guard. He doesn't notice something is wrong with the security cameras and hits the display a few times. Once he's done, I'm already inside an emergency staircase and making the descent. The door to the deepest floors are locked, but it takes a bit of brute force. And then I'm inside. Hello, double spiral. Thought you wouldn't see me again, huh? Assholes. I look around and find an emergency evacuation map. Bullseye. Looks like all the information I need is here. There it is, room 507. Someone comes around. Looks like one of Hope's nerdy ghouls is here to sniff around, but I'm already in the shadows. I slink away as she starts patrolling the corridor, checking if everything is okay. Cameras, body heat sensors, electronic locks. Still, I'm managing. I remain cautious just like Kadir would want me to, but it's surprisingly easy for me to avoid security. Progressively towards room 507 is far easier than expected. I reach the double spiral offices where, just like Kadir said, hordes of ghouls are slaving away for their company. Deep learning, spyware, social media manipulation, yada yada. The important thing right now is everyone's staring at their own screen, so it's easy for me to keep sneaking. Aside from the fact she still seems to be on my trail, only slowed by the fact that she's thorough in her search, I'd better pick up the pace. And there it is, the final corridor. Time to announce myself. I slowly walk to the corridor. There it is, room 507. The door looks harder to take care of than the others in this place. Probably wouldn't be able to take care of it the same way I did the others. The door to the office of the current Double Spiral CEO. This fucking company. I get pissed off, but I'm trying to control it. There's a camera by the door. If she knows what to look for, she can probably see I'm here on her screen. But just to make sure, I knock. Hope, I'm a Camarillo detective and I need you to answer some questions. Hope, I know you're in there. Open the door. I'll not leave until you do. I'm here on behalf of the Sheriff of New York. I'm keep pounding on the door, calling her name. After a minute or so, a voice rings out in the intercom. Is this thing on? I guess it is. Alright, I got your message loud and clear. I'll meet you in the offices. I'll be right there. Looks like you made it past poor Nastya. Get back to the office and keep her company. She's probably beyond pissed off about you eluding her grasp, but don't make it a big deal, okay? Thank you for your cooperation. I'll be right there. What's up? Hope's having a bit of an updated design. On one hand, clothes you could reasonably expect any CEO to find in any CEO's wardrobe. On the other, a body covered in tattoos, flashy jewellery, dyed hair and wild makeup. I thought that she might be yet another CEO playing the non-conformative crossed my mind, but she strikes me as someone who's more than happy to live in her own little bubble. Still, I won't be fooled. She is the boss of Double Spiral. So, how'd you find me? Sheriff Kadir Al-Assami did. You'd have to ask him. Take out a new cigarette without thinking. You can't smoke in here, lady. Just let her. Don't treat me like I'm your enemy. I come in peace. A deep, relaxing drag. So when did you realize I was here? Right at the start. There was a momentary laser malfunction. Lasted a second or two. Hasn't tripped an alarm, but I guess something was off. That's it. Hunches have gotten me every job I've ever had. Hunches save my life anytime I get into a messy situation. These days, the reality is too complicated to rely on anything else. Can't help find a better head of security than Nastya. And her hunches are the main reason why. They're like a sixth sense. Haven't I seen you somewhere? Dunno. Club maybe? Yeah, last year after I was embraced. I visited that one club in that refurbished warehouse and you were there. You've got a memorable aura. Yeah, I DJ and help out there from time to time. Gotta show my face if I want to make it big. Why don't you focus on that? Following that career path doesn't exactly seem compatible with being head of security for Double Spiral. And not just because the necessary skill sets are so different. Nastya looks at Hope. Working at Double Spiral provides some benefit to someone who relies on the internet for promotion, lady. The slowed aging is just a nice perk. Lovely chat, girls, but I'd love if you saved it for later. I'm CEO now. I have a lot of duties I must pretend to handle. I just need to ask you a few questions. Sure, yeah. Call me if you need me. I've got a weird hunch about this one, too. Don't worry, I'll disappear as quietly as I arrived. Yeah, I prefer to be sure that you left, lady, so that I can report it to my boss. We'll talk security later. Don't worry, this shit happens. For now, take 5. Nastya leaves and I'm left alone with Hope in the corner of the office. Feels funny to stand here in front of you. Oh, and why is that? You people had me fired from my job before I was embraced. Ah, I see. You're the Savansky girl from Lodestar. Yeah. Somehow I never put 2 and 2 together. So you're the La Sombra rep for the city now, huh? She's talking to me. She keeps tapping on her phone with terrifying speed. I don't feel like I have her full focus, and it's getting on my nerves. Just so you know, I have no idea why you've taken Karen Montgomery's place, and I doubt you'd tell me, but the bitch deserved to burn in hell. Hell yeah, she does. Wait, did you just admit... Hold your horses. No, Jesus. This is why normal CEOs pay for PR people to talk for them. No, Jesus. This is why normal CEOs pay for PR people to talk for them. I only agreed that she's a horrible person in every way that counts. Nothing more. Does she know that that's what you think of her? Why'd she let you take her place in the first place? What? I'll just cut through the bullshit, okay, Miss Lodestar? I guess it's about Jesse and Kara covering his creepy ass. You spent months on this case and you like some closure? Pretty much. Well, here's your closure. Double Spiral has practically severed all ties with them. They don't work here, they get no company money, they probably won't even show up here again. The company's not their circus anymore, and the workers are not their monkeys. I'm in charge now. So yeah, if there's anything else you'd like from me, I'm all ears. It wasn't just Jesse and his sister. This company has ingrained structures of abuse and immoral... I've ordered internal investigations and audits. Everyone related to those illicit activities was disciplined. Legal actions, firings, and rebukes, all depending on the severity of the misdemeanors. I don't have a stomach for all that creepy corporate shit, so I'm trying to steer the ship in the right direction. Don't know what else I can tell you. For fuck's sake. No matter how I look at it, it seems like she's done everything I hoped to achieve. The Montgomery clan is over, the queen bitch, a symbol of everything that's wrong with Tech CEO, is gone. Jesse, that perverted, embezzling son of a bitch, is gone. I should be glad, so why is there a sinking pit in my stomach? So that's capitalism, huh? Is it? I think it's something worse. When I look at the online world, I don't see capital ruling us. I see only incomprehensible vectors, unknown entities, constantly opening and closing various markets of information. This is something worse than what familiar 20th century terminology taught us. I don't know what it is, but it's terrifying, and it will continue until we give it a name, But, you look like you need emotional support, not my depressing philosophizing. Well, shit sucks. I'm sorry. The biggest case of my professional life, solved by some weirdo who fucked Kara and Jesse over in presumably underhanded ways. Doesn't get more anticlimactic than this. Fuck it now. I want to ask how she did it, but why would she tell me? All I can guess is how she's an outcast who decided to get her hands dirty and obtain power to do something considered good. Something I've always been afraid to do. Anyway, I feel for you, but I have a lot of work to do. So, if this wasn't just a trip down memory lane and you have other questions, speak now or forever hold your peace, okay? So this has something to do with Sophie Langley and, like, our previous character, obviously. My nose is really red. I feel like a car just ran me over, but I need to keep my shit together. Right. A few days ago, the Anarch Baron was found dead in his office. Are you familiar with the case? Douglas Callahan. Of course I'm familiar. Every kindred online's talking about him. And what are they saying? They're accusing everyone. I mean, it's the internet. Are they accusing you? Why would they do that? I found a particular note in Callahan's remains. It had your name on it. Huh. What can you say about this? Nothing. I've never met the guy. Never even seen him. He wasn't my crowd. Then why would he have a note with your name in his pocket? Why were Walt Disney's last words Kurt Russell? No clue. I watch her closely, but nothing suggests she's hiding anything. Well, the note actually contains 3 other names and nothing else. Agathon, D'Angelo, and Tamaka. Ringing any bells now? Her fingers, which hadn't stopped moving across the phone's touchscreen since I first saw her, freezes. Yeah, it kind of does actually. It's a short list of promising unaffiliated kindred that were making the rounds in NYC a few months ago, in case anyone needed a hero for hire. I didn't know Callahan had it. I know Sophie Langley did, as well as a few Primogen. Not sure about the Anarchs. Who could have prepared this list? One of the local information brokers. A short but telling pause. Anonymous. How anonymous? Sort of anonymous. She's obviously conflicted about whether she should tell me. Maybe she's pretending so that I worm it out of her. I've been a good sport ever since I walked through the door. Maybe appealing to her sense of morality will work. I really need your help. I want to prevent the tensions between the local anarchs and the court from escalating, and every lead helps. She briefly considers her options, then gives up. It's my sire, Carter. Oh. He's brokering information? Everyone knows becoming the Prince of New York is his ultimate goal, and that he wants to make friends in all the high places. Sharing useful intel's a pretty effective way to achieve that. So you're telling me that he, a Malkavian Primogen, sold this list to an Anarch Baron? Sure looks like it. Why would he suggest his own child to someone? To have a person on the inside? Just another way to further his information web? Wouldn't they realize you two are close? The story going around is he left me alone and I hate his guts. Well, at least half of that is true. She's talkative. Probably sees me as a way to undermine Carter. Let's see how much further I can push her. Huh. Was wondering how someone like you could control a company like Double Spiral. I suppose a friend in high places would explain it. Yeah, lucky me. Not happy about being a girl boss, leading one of the biggest companies, IT companies in the country? A boss, huh? She stares at a dozen displays on the wall in front of her. Do you remember the Y2K era of internet? Jesus, I barely remember the internet at all. My people can barely use it. But yeah, I guess I sort of remember. Forums, GeoCities, browser wars, all those handmade amateurish web pages. It was a golden age. Everyone was welcome to freely express their creativity and obsession in this abstract new frontier. No formulated rules. Every site was a distinct new universe to explore. You know, as a kid, for some reason I kept saving every web page that moved or changed me in some way. I don't even know why I did it, but today a folder with these is one of my greatest treasures. Fast forward today, I'm the boss of a company that has one overarching goal. Steer the online narrative in every possible way that benefits the Camarilla. And because the online world is so fucked right now, I can do it using only 5 websites. Every day I deploy thousands of believable sock puppets to force some belief on the masses. Right now they're being managed by ghouls. Soon they'll be managed by AI. But basically an all-American version of Chinese 50 Cent Party. A new pattern of public opinion guidance. Hope installed Elon Musk and Twitter. Ever since I was a teen, I've been pretending to be different people online for fun. Aping the posting patterns of others was something I turned out to be horrifyingly good at. Did I ever tell you guys about an ex I had who was like this? With reckless abandon and no morality about it. She freely admitted to me one day that she was like, yeah, I used to have multiple online personas that primarily exist to bully my friend group. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I dream of tulips, a humble florist from Chattanooga who strives to share a positive energy with their audience using photos of beautiful bouquets, motivational quotes, and occasionally the office gift. At Vulva Hufflepuff, a single mum. A single mum from Brighton who reckons all these trans women must be bonkers and spends seemingly every waking moment of her life having a row with everyone who disagrees. Polygon Classes, a 19-year-old kid from Utah who keeps posting Y2K 3D renders of poorly proportioned, scantily clad ladies and telling his audience, remember what they took from you. Somehow this talent got me here, where it's no longer fun but work. Work I usually entrust to these ghouls, because all... She's not Mumsnet, it's Twitter! It's... They're all Twitter users. Vulva Hufflepuff is literally a Harry Potter reference. This game is legitimately presenting the reality, which is that all of these fucking all of these active, transphobia accounts, meme accounts, even these positive uplifting accounts are all sock puppet shit run by the same group of people. I went out before my entire fucking mind gets monetized. I love Hope. This is why she was in our coterie in the last game. But Carter wouldn't have that. So I'll keep doing my best for both him and Double Spiral's investors. So that's why she wants me to look at him. I assume most of your operations focus on New York City. A lot of them, yeah. How do you imitate a New York City voice with these sock puppet accounts? Living in Manhattan and being mentally unstable makes the shit easy. To a normal, well-adjusted person from outside the city, everyone here seems mentally unstable. Ever watch that 9/11 Howard Stern show? No? Check it out someday. It's educational. Ask anyone in New York City about it and they're like, it was a great bonding moment. He was helping us make a sense of what was this accent? He kept saying what we were all thinking. Then you should listen to it and it's everyone yelling. Then you listen to it, it's everyone yelling that we need to nuke something. Maybe the entire world. Get rid of all the Muslims. Fuck human rights. No investigations. Take their oil. Cheery. You watch it, you study it, you witness the specific brand of humor in the face of tragedy, and you understand that nothing outside of New York City really exists for the people who live here. Or the vampires. Foundational text, really. Whenever I need to get in that New York City mindset for work, I let it play in the background. Works like a charm. Seriously, give it a shot sometimes. Someday I might. But now I think I'll confront Carter with what you've told me. Or is it what you haven't told me? What's the story? Me? Of course I haven't told you anything. You're such a good investigator, you figured it out all by yourself. And if he asks, just tell him Kaiser sold you the info. That should do the trick. I see. Thank you. What for? I did nothing. Let Nastya show you out, and if you don't know Carter's address, just ask her. Thank you for having me, Carter. No need, no need. I'll be happy to assist your investigation in whatever way I can, Mr. Savonsky. Miss Savonsky? A sickeningly sweet smile. His office spacious but oppressive. Here's a man who knows how to subtly unnerve people. But does he even realize it? And I'm sure the presence of the established Addison Payne will guarantee I'm totally transparent. Am I right, Addison? Looks like I've interrupted a friendly meeting. In the far corner of the room, I spot glasses of blood and 2 spittoons. Vices and follies of the rich. You sure I'm not wasting your time? Not at all. Busy as I might be, I can't say I'm not curious about the findings in this case. Yes, my thoughts exactly. So how are you handling your newfound responsibilities? I'm managing. I'll start by asking the obvious. Where were you the night Douglas Callahan met his, untimely demise? Carter raises an eyebrow and then lets out a restrained chuckle. Hear that, Addison? I might be a suspect of foul play. Exciting, isn't it? Carter, no antics, please. Just answer the question. Of course. Well, I was right here. Just like I told Prince Panhard. As much as I love to celebrate my power, sometimes one has to celebrate the amount of work piling up on their desk. So your alibi is... you were right here. Alibi. Yes, I suppose. Can anyone back up your story? Well, I did make a few business-related phone calls as I was working, so there's that. That doesn't really answer my question, does it? He regards me with a stare reserved for a troublesome child. Miss Savonsky, this right here is my private little fortress, a space specifically designed to make me focus. I don't really let people in to break that focus. Aside from the occasional esteemed guests such as yourself, of course, and a few wonderful Mexican women responsible for their cleaning duties. So you don't have an alibi. The look in his eyes screams, why won't you at least pretend to try and get on board with my program, kid? I suppose, but why would that matter? Because I found something that belongs to you on the victim's person. Pardon me? Took the words right out of my mouth. We're not taking a murder weapon or something of that caliber, of course. No, it was a short list of 4 names, unaffiliated kindred who have served, so this could be useful to anyone interested in toppling the current power balance in New York. Tamaka, Hope, D'Angelo, Agathon. Excuse me, Miss Savonsky, but I'm afraid I don't follow. How is that something that belongs to me? I'm on good authority that it's a shortlist you've been shopping around to anyone interested in New York City, be it Camarilla or the Anarchs. Addison tenses up and his host is not happy about it. This is just preposterous. I'm calling your bluff right here, miss. No, the bluff is coming right now. Mr. Vanderven, if you want to voice your concerns about the information I have, how about you voice them to Kaiser, not me? Addison turns to Vanderven, clenching his lips and gripping his wheelchair armrest tightly. For a brief moment, the ever-present smile on Vanderven's face is gone, and the expression that replaces it reminds me of a horrifying void, like a sneak peek into what's really going on in his soul. He quickly collects himself, but the image is burned into my retinas. To think these sort of unsavory rumours circulating around me. I should be grateful, you know. So you're denying it? Of course I'm denying it, categorically. You can bet your life savings on it. I certainly hope this is nothing more than an unfortunate blunder. Et tu brute? Come on, Edison, we've known each other for years. Yes, and what about it? Sweet Jesus, Edison, I will get back to you in a second. Any more questions, Miss Savonsky? Any of the names on the list sound familiar to you? No, I mean, yes, that is my long-estranged child on your list, but that's just another reason why I'm flabbergasted anyone would consider it mine. I see. Well, I hope you understand why I'm considering you a prime suspect now. Yes, and I swear to clear my name as soon as possible. Scout's honor. Any more questions? I'm good for now. Sheriff Alasami will probably contact you later. I will get in touch with him myself as soon as possible. Once again, thank you for your work. He extends his hand towards me, practically forcing me to shake it. Then he puts his hand on my shoulder to lead me to the door, all too eager to see me off. Out of sheer curiosity, Mr. Vanderven, I have one more question. It may be a bit random. I really didn't need to ask it, but I wanted him to die inside for a moment. Of course, my dear. A slightly strained tone suggests I may have succeeded. You seem like a person who couldn't live outside of New York. By chance, have you listened to Howard Stern's talk show about after the World Trade Center fell? A tad unsure, but once again carefully controlled chuckle escapes his mouth. That is random, but well, New York born and raised, just like you said. Of course I did. Your opinion? Same as everyone else's. It was the spiritual guidance we needed that day, coming from the unlikeliest of places. A visceral response that verbalized everything we felt. A beautiful moment of unity. Not that I'm into lowbrow jokes about Pamela Anderson and the typical shock value that show tended to offer, but as far as I'm concerned, Howard did an indispensable thing that day. Why are you asking? No particular reason. I just thought it might give me some insight into the kind of person you are. Well, that's the kind of person I am. Just your average New Yorker. So it seems. Well then, I'll leave you and Mr. Payne to plan out your conquering of the city. Conquering the... Now that's spicy, Addison. I love this girl. She's gonna go far, I'm telling you. She's got that spunk, that glint in her eye. Goodbye, Miss Savonsky. I wish you a pleasant respite and swift success in your investigation. Good night. I make it a point to bow to Addison's servant, not the man himself. That I even noticed, but at least these invisible displays of rebellion make me feel better about myself. Alright, the faster I leave, the better. Julia. Father. How are you holding up? I'm fine. Stumbling around and hoping for a miracle to happen, like always. No better place to ask for a miracle than behind these gates, you know. So I hear. As I pass him the report about Ailing and Agathon, I look around, but Benoit is nowhere to be seen. I decide to stay silent and simply bask in the happiness of something good finally happening. But of course it doesn't last. I summoned Benoit away because I wanted to talk to you about him. I knew it. Placate him how exactly? Benoit won't accept anything less than me joining a convent. He's like a worried parent. A basic gesture here and there, showing up in church from time to time and pretending to listen would get him off your case. I mean, I've been through this song and dance before with my own worried parents when I was a teenager. Wandering in the forest until mass was over, not even being able to smoke because they pick up the scent. Not the best moments of my life, you know? That's part of the reason I'm distancing myself from them. I don't need this fake energy in my life, and I'm honestly weirded out by you asking me to lie. I'm not asking you to lie, Julia. Let me ask you this way. Are you a spiritual person? I guess I am. Kind of. Always was. Suddenly being able to see ghosts didn't change a thing. I think it's mostly because seeing the world as purely material seemed boring to me somehow. You are, and you were raised Catholic, so can't you find a way to express that spirituality in our church? I don't see a way right now. And why is that? I sigh. Too many people who think my soul needs to be saved because I live with a woman, for starters. I don't know, there's a lot of reasons. Like the sin of drinking blood every night, or feeling some primal fear whenever I walk by a clergyman whose face seems to actually be genuine. That one sounds like an excuse. It's about your relationship with God, not with other people. In theory, but back in the old country, I've heard my share of homilies that felt like complete condemnations of my kind, and none that would condemn hate towards people like me. And you know, when church-adjacent people try to stir shit around your very existence every few months, some minimal support would be appreciated. Sorry, all you can count on is silent complicity. I get it. I know there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of undeserved hurt going around, but listen, I don't even want to talk about it. I fucking hate the tone I use when I talk about it. I sound preacher than the preachers, and my biggest dream is to just not give a shit. But I remember things, like this story about a guy from my hometown. Most macho guy around with a jaw you could sharpen a knife on. Became an actor in Warsaw, very successful, deservedly so. The capital might not be New York City, but it's still a big city, and big cities go to the heads of bumpkins like us. In his case, it resulted in a dream coming out to his coming out to his parents. He was surrounded by all those stories of openly queer people, played one even, so he thought he had a chance at making it work. So he goes back to his town, tells everyone he's going to live his truth. His dad, a ruling party-adjacent businessman, curses him. His uncle takes him into the bushes and starts to destroy him physically. It's so bad he gets put in the ICU. His face and jaw get ruined for good. Fast forward a year or two, with his career over, the guy's stuck in his parents' rustic house. With no other path to follow, he turns to God, who asks him to forgive his kin. Everything's fine again. Angelic choruses sing of divine mercy. A kind-looking priest talks about protecting our families. A man sits in the front row of the church with a disfigured smile on his face. But that story alone didn't drive me away. One time when I saw how blissful he was, I could swear he was actually able to hear God whispering to him. He looked like a saint. It fucked me up so bad I left. I feel nauseated now. I'm still reeling from hearing about Cara and Jesse Montgomery. Now, if we could never talk about it again, that would be great. Oh. But at least keep trying to change. I know that I tend to sound like a loser who loves to pontificate about shit I can't change, but I at least keep trying to change myself, damn it. I won't offer empty platitudes, but I think I understand what I meant to understand. I hope I haven't insulted you in any way. Whatever, I've not to hold people responsible for what the rest of their organisation is doing. It'd be hard looking in the mirror otherwise. Not that there's much I could see in a mirror right now. I'm just wondering about one thing. There's always a cross on your chest. I like how it goes with my outfit. Is it just a fashionable accessory to you? Have a good night, Father. I find her sitting in bed, scrolling through Pinterest on her phone. So how you doing, detective? I fall onto bed and bury my face in the pillows and scream. That bad, huh? I don't want to tell her about Double Spiral. I still haven't figured out how I feel about it. I'm just not cut out for this. Oh, shut up. If you aren't, who is? Sherlock Holmes? Hercule Poirot? Columbo? Mads Mikkelsen's boyfriend from Hannibal, whatever his name was? Lovely scientist. That's a reference specifically for you, I think. I don't know. Somebody can actually put two and two together. You can't fool me into believing you're incompetent, you dumbass. I've read your articles. Don't pretend you suddenly forgot how to do your job. I haven't, but I've got no evidence. No witnesses, no promising leads, nothing. I just stumble around assuming things, talking big. Ugh. So you're like, I don't know, Jack Nicholson in Chinatown? And he actually solved his cases. And then wished he never took it up. Was that supposed to cheer me up? I'm just saying that the situation you're in sounds an awful lot like Chinatown. Depraved elites, big plans for the city, blah blah blah. Yeah, and that's depressing. It is what it is. I just think you should approach this in a way that... I think you should just approach it this way and look for a solution to your problems outside of the box. Not as a mystery, but maybe like a trap to escape. Maybe. I throw myself on the bed again and lie there for a bit, staring at the ceiling. Then I approach Dakota from behind and tug her sleeve to draw her attention. Psst, hey. Put the phone away. Now? Come on, Jules, we can't do this every night. I've got my own work and I need to worry about Anima. You said yourself. Besides, I was looking for inspiration. I rub against her clothes with my face like a cat. You're impossible. Haven't you noticed what's going on in the news? People are going absolutely insane about this virus, cancelling trips and orders and... Pretty please? So the COVID-19 pandemic is actually just developing in the background of the story. I have to replenish my stash, and besides, I'm worried about overuse. My brain's working a bit too slow, my balance is off. I was just thinking about how much I miss meditation. She's just giving me clear signals she wants an excuse, and even though it would be the responsible thing to do, I know she's insatiable. She's the one who takes the initiative. Let's try a final push. I bite her and whisper in it. No drugs tonight. Let's do this raw. She throws her hands up in the air. Victory. Jesus, you're greedy these days. You always have been, haven't you noticed? And that's where we're going to call it today, guys. So thank you very much for watching the Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York stream. If you haven't, I've been a bit confused about what watched the previous series of Coteries of New York and are a bit confused about who all these characters are, I highly suggest going to watch it because Hope, Tamika, Angelo, and the other one, D'Angelo and Agathon are all prominent characters in it. But if you're watching on the YouTube or on the VOD, I'm going to love you and leave you here. So thank you very much for watching. If you're watching live on the stream, stick around for a little bit and we'll have a wee bit of a goodbye chat. And if you want to catch these live, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or at least try to stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But you can find more by following me on social media or joining the official Skye Blacke Discord. Goodbye.